The Tiverton Town Council regular meeting for, thank you, for May 12th, 2025. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Flag is this way.
Oh, okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk.
Councilor Comito.
Present.
Councilor Burke.
Present.
Councilor Janik.
Present.
Councilor DiMederos.
Present.
Councilor Edwards.
Present.
Councilor Paul.
Present.
Councilor Perry.
Present.
All present.
Thank you. Real quick, before we do the consent agenda, I do want to note that National EMS Week is May 18th to the 24th, so we'll probably have a resolution in support of that at our next meeting. Just didn't have enough time to get it in for the next agenda, so that will be coming. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda as listed. Would any councilors like to remove any items from the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as listed on the agenda?
So moved.
All right, motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, not opposed. Thank you. Next up, we have public comments. Karen Ephraim, item D7, letter regarding zoning/development. Ms. Ephraim, just please state your name and address for the record.
Karen Ephraim, 74 North Christopher Avenue. So, as you all are aware, I submitted that letter, including the package with enclosures. I just want to reiterate my concerns just in this public comment period, just about the proposed zoning ordinance changes. I understand that the planning board still hasn't rendered you an opinion on the matter just yet, but it's incredibly concerning to me that this is even being considered given the gravity of the situation and the poorly chosen spot where this may affect. That planned development part was never intended for something like this. There's a reason that construction debris processing facilities are currently prohibited, and they should remain prohibited. That proposed site is going to be about half a mile from a public drinking source, a residential neighborhood, schools. Nobody can guarantee that a business will never have a crisis, okay? That's impossible. And so I'm just asking you all to keep in mind when this does come back to you that once you open up Pandora's box, it's not just for one business, it's for any business that would be interested in conducting such an operation. And it's already disheartening to see this town being changed because of all different developments going on. I would hate to see something dramatic possibly happen that will negatively impact this town for years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Jamie French regarding zoning in general. Ms. French. And as always, please state your name and address for the record. But do take your time.
Jamie French. I live on Craig Avenue. And I want to talk about the fact that I want to talk about zoning in general because, you know, the Tiverton taxpayers paid for the sewer line that brings development to Tucson, to Tiverton, sorry, that we paid for the consultants that told us that the sewer line, the sewer trunk line was a good thing. And so we paid it, we bonded it, we put it in. We wanted development to come. So then we didn't look forward very well, and so now we look forward, and all the development of all the multi-story homes and apartments on Sousa Hill are all because of that trunk line. So we paid to bring that development in. And it's the Tiverton taxpayers who paid for that trunk line. So we bought that infrastructure, and then we're complaining that developers are coming, even though that's why we put that trunk line in. And I don't think people understand that. We pay for consultants who tell their business is to create more business for themselves, And they tell us, oh, these things are a good thing, but we don't look forward. And so we believe them. And I think that we have to stop believing what we're being told by consultants. You know, we have to look forward and see what's happening to our community. We have to look forward 20 or 30 years. You know, savings of power was a good thing, but not if we're ruining Mount Hope Bay. Looking at the non-quit watershed is a good thing, but not if we're not looking at the Stafford Pond Reservoir watershed or the Mount Hope Bay watershed. And the demolition and processing facility is not, or I would consider, a positive adjacent to a watershed, a school, and a neighborhood. There's so many potentials for that to get out of control very quickly. You know, I question even the zoning that was passed in February of 2025, this past February, actually permits more than what the legislature is currently asking for. The current legislature is asking that in general commercial, we have mixed-use residential at 30% of the district. We allow it at 100% of the district. They're asking for it in that one zone. We have it permitted in 7 zones. They're asking for 30-foot height limits. We have it, 40-foot height limits. We have it listed as 50-foot height limits. We have it so that there's 0 setbacks. There's no limit on how large you can build this mixed-use residential. So it's commercial, we allow commercial with 3 or 4 stories of residential on top. No, as long as you have a 40,000 square foot building, no setbacks. You can cover 50% of your property, unless the only time you have a setback is if you have a neighbor, and then you have to give them 20 feet. Now, why are we allowing zoning that is in excess of what the legislature is asking for, and then we're complaining about the legislature making strict regulations when we exceed those regulations? It's just something I think we need to review. And industrializing, I'm still after, industrializing our waterfront is absolutely insane. It's like as bad as putting a demolition and construction processing facility at Stafford Pond Reservoir. What are we doing here? I posted some pictures on Facebook of North Tiverton, a picture of North Tiverton, of some deer grazing. People are like, that's North Tiverton? I mean, people really don't know. I mean, why is North Tiverton the comfort and convenience center of Tiverton when you can't even have a new business anywhere else in town that will sell you a gallon of milk? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, without objection, I'd like to bring up 9B. So, 9B is Administrator Jones' discussion and possible vote regarding the appointment of special officers Jamie and Malo, Paul Manning, Faith Mello, and Liam is it Haag? Yes. Okay, Haig. All right, I don't want to get it wrong. All right, to serve as community service officers.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to invite Lieutenant John Ledoux to come forward. Lieutenant Ledoux, as you know, is our community policing director. So he's going to be in charge of all the community service officers for the incoming season. So I'll give it to Lieutenant Ledoux.
Lieutenant, who is the 5th?
It's 5.
Jackie Morocco. So she's a retired Newport PD.
Okay.
She's also going to be brought on as a CSO.
Excellent. Thank you.
More kind of like in the role of Ed Savigny. So, yes. So we have 4 great new hires as far as our community service officers are concerned. They've been vetted. They're ready to rock and roll. We have.
Lieutenant, tell us about the program.
Oh, sorry. Wasn't sure exactly what you were. Yes. So basically, we have our community service officers are recruited from either the high school, seniors that are 18 years of age or older, or freshmen and sophomores of our colleges nearby. So basically, what their purpose is to patrol the beaches, be kind of eyes and ears for officers that are out on patrol as well, and basically handle any kind of situations such as like parking, fires on the beach, dogs on the beach, basically that.
Did any of these individuals come out of the CTE program at the high school?
Liam, stand up.
Why don't you have them all come forward, Lieutenant?
Guys, come on.
It's fine. That's Liam.
So we've got Liam Haig, we've got Jamie Malo, Faith Mello, Paul Manning, and Jackie Morocco.
All right,
So
so,
Liam came out of the high school.
Mr. President, it's my
Yes.
recommendation that you instruct the town clerk to swear in our CSOs for the season.
all right, so with that, I'd like to entertain a motion to instruct the clerk to swear in our CSOs for the season. Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay. Madam Clerk, have at it. Unless you're not ready, in which case we can circle back, but.
Thank you for that.
Get the fun stuff out of the way before we get to the budget.
If you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. I, Jamie Malo. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution. And obey the laws of the United States of America. And of the state of Rhode Island. That I will in all respects. Observe the provisions of the Charter. And ordinances of the town of Tiverton. And will faithfully discharge. The duties of special officer. For the town of Tiverton. So help me God. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Craig, have them come to the front.
Yeah. Not just you.
I can't get out. This is going to be blocked in.
One down through.
Mine through. Council Cometto's not the only one.
Congratulations.
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 Thank you.
Now, do you know what Article 6 of the Charter says?
Please read the fishing sign.
All right. Next on the agenda, we have Philomena Santos-Higgins / Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, Mass Rhode Island Chapter, Natick, Mass. Requests approval of a special event license for Cycle for Life ride through Tiverton on Saturday, September 20th, 2025, from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. September 21st rain date, subject to meeting all legal requirements. Is the applicant here?
Mr. President, the applicant is unable to make it due to medical issues.
Okay.
But she wanted to mention that it's the same as prior years.
I figured as
There are
much.
no differences, so I told her that not to worry.
Okay.
She didn't need to be here.
With that, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the special event license for Cycle for Life ride through Tiverton on Saturday, September 20th, 2025, from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. with a September 21st rain date and subject to meeting all legal requirements.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right. Super easy. Next up is Charles Mulcahy, 65 Beach Avenue, Tiverton, requesting a private detective license. This is another applicant who's been here for several years, given his absence, and I'm assuming nothing has changed. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the private detective license renewal for Charles Mulcahy, 65 Beach Avenue.
So moved.
Subject to all meetings.
Subject to all legal requirements.
Second.
Motion been made. Do I have a second? Seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Okay. Next up, we have a public hearing. The approval of proposed amendments to the Tiverton Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, Boats and Waterways, Division 4 Moorings. This proposed ordinance will amend Section 14-103, renewal of existing permits. The amendments would change the date from December 15th to January 3rd to be consistent with the mooring service provider and amend the notification process. Given this is a public hearing, would any member of the public like to speak on this topic? Would any member of the public like to speak on this topic? Last call, any member of the public. All right, I will close the public hearing. Do I have any discussion or questions from the council? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the changes.
Move approval.
Is there a motion? Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Not opposed. Next, we have appointments and resignations. Planning Board, we have a 9-member board, 3-year terms, 2 vacancies. Cheryl Valentine, North Christopher Ave, requests appointment terms options ending either 7/15/2026 or 2027. Ms. Valentine.
I've been waiting for this, Sharon. She comes to every planning board meeting. No, you've come to every planning
great
board
thing.
meeting.
We
It is a
appreciate
good
your
thing.
dedication.
It is a good thing.
All right, so, Ms. Valentine, if you wouldn't mind, just give us a brief overview as to why you'd like to join the planning board.
Sure. I live on North Christopher Avenue. I provided some basic information in the application, but I just have a quick summary here. I have about 25 years' experience, business experience. I've worked with small and large companies. A lot in business development. I was part of an advanced team to review and scout out new office and manufacturing locations. For startup companies, I've worked with various Chamber of Commerce offices and with the local and state economic development teams in numerous states and with DEM or their equivalent permitting. I've developed business plans for company expansions, hired all the staff from hourly to office to executives. I've negotiated union contracts here in Rhode Island, Chicago, New Jersey. I have project management skills and long-term strategic planning skills. I have attended various meetings. I've tried to get to know the different groups. I've also attended about 7 of the planning workshops on Saturday mornings. I've gone to the economic development meeting, the North Tiverton Fire Department, Stonebridge Water. I think I've done my homework. I understand what the planning board does. You know, I wouldn't be in for any surprises. I think I'm more than capable of working with them.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council?
Ms. Valentine, didn't you work in the industrial park in Fall River?
Yes, I did. I was on the
I remember
board there
that.
when I first started. Yes.
Great job down there.
Any other questions from the council?
No.
Okay, hearing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to waive our policy and appoint this evening, given there are 2 vacancies.
So moved.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded, all in favor? Okay, not yet, that was just to waive the policy. Next, I'd like to entertain a motion to appoint Cheryl Valentine of North Christopher Ave to the planning board for a term expiring either 7/15/2026 or 7/15/2027, whoever makes the motion.
So moved.
27.
27, okay,
So moved.
27, okay.
yep,
Whatever the date, so moved.
27? She's saying 27.
all right.
Jesus.
All right,
We're
motion's
not
been made.
desperate.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded, all right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right,
Now,
congratulations.
now
Thank you.
welcome, welcome.
All right, next up, this is more of a ministerial appointment. We have Stephen Clarke, 31 Peaceful Way, requests appointment of the Harbor Commission as planning board member. This is a position that's required, so with that, I'd like to entertain a motion to appoint Mr. Clarke to a term ending in only a couple of months on 7/15/2025.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Do I have any further discussion from the council? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay. Let Mr. Clarke know that he's now on.
He'll be thrilled.
All right, 9A, DPW Director Rogers, discussion and possible vote to approve Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation Tiverton FY26 and FY27 municipal agreement. Director Rogers.
Thank you, sir. DPW request is to approve the Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation Tiverton fiscal year 26 and fiscal year 27 municipal agreement and attachments, and signing as such by town administrator and town solicitor. If there's any questions, happy to answer them.
Members of the council, any questions? This is a requirement, I believe,
Yes.
Director? Okay, so,
It's a take it or leave it contract. You have no choice.
all right, so, given that, do I have a motion from the council to approve and direct the administrator and solicitor to countersign?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Do I have any further discussion from the council? Hearing none, all in favor? Not opposed?
Thank you.
Nice and easy, Director. There you go. All right, next up, we have Administrator Jones, discussion and possible vote to authorize reimbursement to Warren Police Department for equipment related to a lateral transfer to the Tiverton Police Department.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr. President.
Administrator.
By way of just history, back in May of 2023, we were able to hire Officer Scott DaCosta as part of the Tiverton Police Department. Where it became an issue is Mr. DeCosta at the time was a recruit in the Rhode Island Municipal Police Academy. Within 2 days of his graduating at the police academy, he approached our department with the interest in transferring over. I can tell you that the town of Warren was none too pleased, but speaking as a police chief who has lost many an officer, I believe the East Providence Police Department has their own coin for people who used to work in Tiverton. So with that, we were in negotiations with the town of Warren with the understanding that at this time there is no regulations to prevent a police officer upon graduating the academy to laterally transfer anywhere else. I know that they are looking at doing something on the state level as far as a bill and to enact a law, because basically what's happening now in the state of Rhode Island and across the country, police chiefs are picking each other's pockets. In this case, this would not engage in any former salary. All we would be requesting to do is reimburse the town of Warren for the equipment that we would have normally bought Officer DeCosta, and that money would come out of the equipment account for the police department. The equipment is in Officer DeCosta's possession, and that was a loss to the town of Warren. As I've stated in my memorandum to you, I've been in contact with the town of Warren. They will consider this matter closed if they get reimbursement for the equipment that they lost to Officer DeCosta.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator. Councilor DiMedeiros.
They wanted a lot more than this, because I was president at the time.
Yes,
And
ma'am,
I
they
got
did.
several calls from the administrator.
From what I understand through speaking to the town of Warren, they would consider this a fair
They will.
gesture, and this will be closed.
This is quite the compromise to what I remember.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Councilor
So in
Camino.
other words, they were gonna sue Tiverton? Or,
There's no stand.
I don't want to speak for the town of Warren, sir, but
No,
I know
right.
that I can just comfortably say that they were unhappy
Yeah, they were
that
upset.
the Officer DeCosta came to
I
Tiverton.
really can't feel bad for Warren or any other community that steals our employees. I mean, look at the fire department. We've been dealing with this for years now. And,
And
I
Craig,
mean, we
that's
don't
a-
go after reimbursement for what we've paid and what we've lost.
You're correct, sir.
I'm sorry for the town of Warren, but is this the total on the second page here?
Yes, sir.
So I don't understand the total breakdown as far as this cost here. If we could go over it a little bit.
Yes, sir.
The portable radio.
Yes, sir.
So Warren bought a portable radio for him.
Yes,
Is
sir.
it coming to us?
Is it coming to us?
No.
So does it go back to them?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
And this is what I tried to explain, exactly what Craig just said. Do you know how many firemen we
So,
have lost that we have trained?
Mr. Administrator, I mean, I could see definitely paying for some of the equipment that is fitted to him.
Yes, sir.
His vest.
I'm presenting to you what they've requested.
Okay.
With the understanding that it is up to you to decide what you want to reimburse. The radio, also the badges. From what I understand, they could repurpose badges.
Yeah, that's-
Other issues I can understand with
So-
holsters and stuff like that.
This list came from them or from?
That is correct. That is their list, not mine.
Councilor Camino, if you'll,
I'd like to make a motion that we come up with a new list have somebody at the police station, I'm sure the administrator can do it, go through these items and see exactly what our police officer has, what he's kept from Warren. I'm sure he can keep the handcuff in the handcuff case. I'm sure
Taser holster.
the uniforms are totally different, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Like, I know our
Yes.
police officers have custom-made uniforms, blue stripe, like,
Some of these, in looking over this list, some of these are legitimate. The one that did stand out, sir, and you picked right up on it, the portable radio can be repurposed. He didn't come with a portable radio.
Right, and
But
I'm
I'm
sure Warren
presenting to
didn't buy a
you
brand
what
new
was
radio
presented
either.
to me from the town of Warren.
so,
Because to be honest with you, Administrator, $1,600 for a portable is not a brand-new portable.
Those portables go about $6,000.
Yes.
Mr. President, I know he's got a motion. If he's willing to amend the motion to retract the radio, the breast badges, and hat badge, it would bring it down to $5103.29.
But isn't there others?
perhaps to ease to make the discussion easier here, because the administrator does have experience in this.
I'm sure
Can
we
you
don't have a
highlight
tactical.
which items came with the officer?
If I
in
could
this
make a
list?
recommendation, not to exceed a certain dollar amount, and then I can make that forward to the town of Warren, because some of these are clearly legitimate. The portable radio, the ammunitions, I believe, like I said, the ammunition is gone, because that's what was used during the academy. So whatever they paid for ammunition is gone.
How about the radio case holder?
I'd like to go with my motion that's on the floor and come back with a new list.
Yeah, I
All right,
second
so
that.
You're just, for the rest of the council, your motion was, Councilor Comito?
So either I'd like to have the administrator or somebody from the police department come back with a new list of the equipment that actually transferred from Warren to Tiverton. And I bet you half of this is not going to come from Warren.
And that was seconded by Councilor DiMederos?
Yep.
Okay. So motion on the floor, seconded. Councilor Burke, further discussion. And then we're coming to Councilor James.
And I respect them trying to come for the reasons that they want to. At the same time, as has been said, this happens a lot. And I really would prefer that the Chiefs Association and certainly the Fire Chiefs Association work for legislation or some common type of agreement among municipalities that outlines what happens under these circumstances in terms of reimbursement. I think that's a fair process because we've lost a lot of money over the decades. And I appreciate that we want to try to offer, make a peace offering. At the same time, we've been in that position too, and we didn't go after anybody.
I cannot agree more. I mean, this was something that I was asked to put it forward by the town of Warren with the disclaimer and the understanding that it is up to you to make the decision as to whether you want to even entertain this or you want to, and what we're going to do potentially is reconsider exactly what was spent by the town of Warren and what's in our possession now.
Yeah.
Councilor Janik.
I do agree. The initial letter that we did get, whenever it was, within the last 2 years, was for a much higher number. He wanted reimbursement for everything.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it was in the consent agenda, and that's as far as it went.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have absolutely had our police department, our fire department rated by area, towns, cities and towns. How many have we gone after, and/or how many have we
None.
been reimbursed by?
I will say, though, for the record, the only nuance to this one is he graduated the academy and 2 days later he came over.
that's
Normally, there's a time frame that happens when these, whether it's a probationary, whether it's years that go by. This was literally hours. So, and again, I'm not defending it. I agree with you. As the former police chief, I cannot tell you how many people, we've flipped the police department over. We have police officers in every state that borders us, and every community in Newport County.
same
And
thing
like
in
I
fire
said,
service.
with no jest, there's got to be at least double digits in in every city, in every community that you can throw a stick at, there's a former Tiverton police officer there.
That we have trained.
Yes, ma'am.
Paid to train.
Yes, ma'am.
And the fire department also, and it may not have been ours, but there was someone who was right out of the academy
Yes, ma'am.
who we lost to an area town.
Again, this is for your consideration.
Mike,
Any other questions from the
do they have anything legally to stand on? I wouldn't think so.
I don't know. They'll find something, I'm sure, if they have to, but I don't know. It could be breach of contract, it could be unjust enrichment, there's a lot of different claims. It could be.
It hasn't gone away in 2 years. I guess these,
All right, so, Councilor Perry?
My only concern with this is, if we consider this, is this going to start a new trend? Every time a fireman gets moved around or a police officer gets moved around, someone's going to request that someone pays for whatever? I think we should just not even consider this.
I agree.
It's going to start a whole new trend. But let someone else consider this, not us.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor. We do have a second. I would add, I tend to agree with the rest of the council. The only thing I would possibly be okay with reimbursing for is items which are still in the officer, therefore the town's possession. That's my only piece. Because I'm assuming, for instance, the portable radio that they're asking for, we also had to purchase a portable radio for this officer.
Yes, sir.
So I can't see paying them back for a portable radio they turn around and repurpose, as an example. And for what it's worth, I have had numerous discussions with the legislature on drafting some sort of protection. It's less prevalent in the police department, more prevalent in the fire department because of the state pension plan that covers our fire department, whereas our pension plan is not portable for the police department. It makes it a little bit more of a disincentive for officers to leave and go somewhere else versus the fire department, they can just poach for more money. So,
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Usually, in the fire service anyway, if you leave within a certain time, or I know other departments make you pay back the money for your gear for whatever it's custom fit stuff. So some departments make you pay back. If you want to leave, you owe us $7,000 for the fire gear, so.
Yeah. All right, so motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Counselor Camino, in favor?
Yeah, it's your motion.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Administrator, look forward to seeing that on the next agenda.
Yes, sir.
All right, next up, Town Administrator, discussion and possible vote to authorize $7,000 for emergency floor repairs in the clerk's office. Mr. Administrator.
So you've seen this. I sent you the backup in the package. So what ended up happening as, given my new role here as your town administrator, I've kind of gotten to take a look at Town Hall and go into areas that I never thought existed, and are totally scary to me now. So this was brought to my attention by the maintenance director, and we're talking about this area behind me at the clerk's office, where is the recording area. So when you go into the main entrance to the clerk's office, it is to the left. So evidently, there was a stairway underneath there, and what's holding it up currently, given the pictures that are part of your package, are floor jacks. I had the building official take a look at it as well. That is also part of your package. Clearly, the town hall has numerous safety violations and code violations because of this, and it's clearly a safety issue. You know, you can't hold up the floor with the floor jacks. How long that's been going on, I couldn't begin to tell you. Also, one of those floor jacks and one of those beams is right next to a water pipe downstairs in one of the photos that you were provided. My fear is because anything that's bad is going to happen when we're asleep or on a weekend. So we're going to come in and town hall is going to be underwater. So we did have the contractor that is currently doing a lot of the work come in and evaluate it. They did give an estimate of $7,000 to fix this. I am requesting that you discuss and vote and authorize me to move forward with repairing that area.
All right, I'd like to entertain a motion to authorize the administrator to expend no more than $7,000 for emergency floor repairs in the clerk's office.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Motion been made and seconded. Further discussion, Councilor DiViteris.
This will come from casino revenue?
Yes, if
You
you
need
look
to tell me
down
where
at,
you want to take it from.
Yeah, so we have to put that in the motion, I would imagine.
item G is actually the resolution that would
For all
include
of
it.
it?
All
Okay.
three.
We
And-
anticipated that you would.
Yeah.
All right, all right.
All right, so motion been made and seconded. Further discussion, Councilor Camino.
So under labor and materials, we have a cost of $6,900 to $8,400.
I believe there's part of your package, sir. There is
I mean, it says 7,000 at the
Yeah.
subtotal, but labor
Yes,
and
sir.
materials, they're estimating between 6,900 and 8,400.
Yes, sir.
So possibility of going over the 7,000.
There is a potential.
So I would assume, obviously, the building official must have looked at this, and this has me a little nervous, this cost. I think it's a little underestimated for the repair that's going to take place down there.
I have no doubt.
But it definitely needs to be done. So
I'm sorry, sir. What I prefer to do is if you authorize this tonight, it'll start the work. And as you know, based on your experience as well, once we start getting in there in this old building,
Exactly.
if I need to come back to you, I will. But at least we can start evaluating this. I also spoke to PAR Engineering to do a structural engineering survey, which was part of the recommendations. The survey alone was $17,000. So I think with this will get us started to get in there, take a look around, see what's going on, and if I need to come back to you, I will.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Councilor Janik.
Just to clarify, it's this end of the...
Yes, ma'am. It's right behind
It's
us.
right there.
Because I thought it was...
No,
this
it's right
end.
there.
It's over here.
They
I don't want to
showed
look over there. I just want to stick right here for now, because I'm afraid to look over there.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Thank you.
Opposed? All right, next item is Administrator Jones, discussion and possible vote to purchase furniture for the clerk's office. Mr. Administrator.
So this was going to be part of your gaming discussion in July. Normally, I would have waited. This is part of a reorganization that we're doing with the town clerk about to better service the citizens and actually repurpose, which also came as part of the emergency repairs, about repurposing the layout of the clerk's office. So the estimate that you have for the furniture is off the master price agreement for the state of Rhode Island. The reason why I'm bringing it in front of you now is two. One, it takes 5 to 6 weeks to get the furniture, and secondly and more importantly, tariffs. So as you can see from this estimate, it's approximately nearly $2,000 in tariffs. We are also dealing with the rep from WB Mason, who is the state contractor, who warned me that if we wait until June 1st, the tariffs could be exceeded. I did reach out to her today, because I know it's no secret, it's part of the news that the President Trump is dealing with the administration to see if they can do something, but I have no idea what that's going to impact or make worse. So when I spoke with the representative, she did not know either. So knowing that if we're going to consider purchasing this furniture in July, it's cheaper to do it now.
All right. Do I have a motion to authorize the administrator to purchase furniture for the clerk's office in an amount of not to exceed $38,000?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Councilor Burke.
I appreciate you identifying why you're bringing it now, because I do have concerns about, we've created a cycle of how to deal with casino funds.
Yes, sir.
Certainly the emergency one is obvious.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate the need to counteract some efforts that have been made on the federal level as quickly as we can.
Thank you, sir.
I have one comment before we vote. So it's my understanding that, I'm assuming this is all related to imports from China. And if that's the case, those are now down to 30% tariff. So I'm going to assume that the administrator will go back and find out what the actual number will be. And
So
that
when I spoke
won't be
to
less.
the representative from WB Mason, that is in the news today. Whether that holds, I think, no disrespect to our administration, but wait a minute.
Yeah.
And my job is to make sure that we get the best price for our town and our taxpayer dollars. So
Love it.
that's why I brought it forward to you today.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Thank you.
All right, none opposed. Last item is, all right, sorry, it was not a last item, but this is under me. Councilor Edwards, discussion and possible vote to approve Resolution 2025-0019 in support of S57 and H5393 related to the maintenance of sidewalks. This is from our last meeting, and several other municipalities have done the same. Do I have a motion? Councilor?
I'll move it because I think I actually was the one who took it off the consent agenda and asked that this be put together. So I'm
Perfect.
actually a little surprised that it's not under my name.
Well, we can amend it
that's
to yours.
fine.
That's I did the agenda meeting via telephone, so.
That was probably my fault.
So
All right.
motion made.
Motion been made. Do I have a second? Motion been made and seconded. Any
Second.
further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Okay. Next item, Council President Edwards, discussion and possible vote to approve Resolution 2025-0020, appropriating funds from Fund 650, the Casino Special and Revenue Fund. This addresses the two items that we just approved, as well as one which we already approved at a prior meeting for the pumper truck. Do I have
That's
any?
the Dartmouth one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Paid in Aram.
Oh, still part of Dartmouth.
Too good to be true.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution as written? All right. Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? None opposed. Okay. Next item, under Council President Edwards, discussion and possible vote to approve a 5-year lease agreement for the Municipal Recycling Center with Street Legal LLC located in the Tiverton Industrial Park. You all have this lease in front of you. Mr. Solicitor.
So as you know, the council last time authorized the town administrator and myself to negotiate a lease. This is the product of that lease. It's basically a lot of legal lease, but the most important part is it's a 5-year lease with $1 a year. We do have to get out after 5 years and use reasonable efforts to do so. This has been gone over by both our side and the Street Legal Council. It's pretty standard language, and I would recommend approval, and this would at least guarantee us the recycling center for at least 5 years at the current site. And this was a condition of the closing, which has not yet occurred on that property. The property will close after we abandon the roadway, which is at our May 27th meeting. So, but this, we will not execute this lease until such time as we close on the property.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the lease as written?
So moved.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed?
Abstention,
Okay.
because I was not here during the negotiation, the approval processes.
Thank you.
All right. Next item is Council President Edwards' discussion and possible vote to advertise proposed Code of Ordinance Zoning amendments as listed. This is for the advertisement
Only.
only. So do I have a motion to vote to advertise so we can go to public hearing in 3 weeks?
So moved.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Are
Counselor
these the
Burke.
items that we've sent to the planning board
Yes.
for their
Yep.
feedback?
With the exception of the C and D, they're still coming back with recommendations at their June meeting, so we should have that by the next meeting. But
With the exception of which?
the construction and demolition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there were other technical changes that we added in here, that we had to comply with state law, like adding the 3 forms of surety that are now mandated by state law. So it's not only what we sent to them, they also sent us some stuff back, so, but it's also a cleanup bill.
So just to note, I'm going to vote no because I'd prefer to have that recommendations back from the planning board first.
C and D is not here. They
No,
took it
that's-
out. We do have recommendation, we did.
Recommendations for all the others.
We did, yep.
Oh, we have?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got the recommendations, just not the
Okay.
That was a while ago.
They excluded this construction and demolition debris.
construction, right?
I don't think you were here, was he?
May 8th was 2025, they sent us, yeah, so we sent it to them, they sent us
Oh, it's this?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Oh,
Okay. Any further discussion from the council? All
And
right.
again, it's only advertising, so it'll be after a public hearing, and we'll have to advertise it in 3 weeks, right?
Yep.
3 consecutive weeks.
Get that going tomorrow, right?
This is just for the hearing, right?
Say that again, this is just to authorize the hearing for these changes.
Public
correct.
hearing, okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? No? Okay. All right, next we have review, discussion, and possible vote on the FY26 expenditure budget for all municipal departments and the Tiverton School Department. I know we do have a secondary meeting on the books for tomorrow night. It is my preference that we finalize this budget this evening.
I don't think we can. We'll try.
Well, I'm going to cancel the meeting anyway, so we better. All right, so we all have the budget in front of us. I think it's probably easiest, we start with the municipal side, and we can go segment by segment. Yes, please. Oh, Madam Treasurer. We may need your expertise if you'd like to join us. Of course.
Can we go department by department?
Start on
Not
page
that I,
one.
that, I think.
I think we are, but we'll start on page 1, right?
Yeah, start on page
I-
1.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, 'cause
Yep,
I wanna-
I'm just
yeah,
gonna
let's
go
start
right
from
down.
the
I
top and
have
then-
questions, yeah.
Oh, you guys don't want to stay for the fun stuff?
Even if we, never mind, what to say.
Just file it out.
Is someone gonna calculate?
Yes, I believe the treasurer, the administrator, and myself, so as we
Okay.
have changes come up,
I'm gonna leave too.
I'm gonna just adjust those in the spreadsheet. You all have it. Which is unfortunate. You locked some. Do you wanna use my, no, that's probably not.
Right,
gonna
Tom, I think I got one back there.
For those at home, we are pausing to allocate a mouse pad to the treasurer.
It's gonna come out of gaming.
You need one of those stationary mics. They're wonderful. Just sit still and just move it. You don't have to go like this.
All right. So Councilor DiMederos has stepped away for a moment. I will just start then with debt service, 9660. These numbers are calculated by the treasurer. We're obligated to pay them. There should be no changes there.
I just have one question.
Yes, sir.
When do these bonds expire? I have that every year. I know you usually put it on the bottom.
Fort Barton is the next closest one. We have, what, 4 payments left?
It is there right here.
Oh, it is?
Oh,
They
yes.
expire?
In the column
Oh, yeah,
C,
FYs
if you.
right there,
got
I'm
your
sorry.
document
I'm
open.
sorry. They are here.
So the first one to go is going to be the TMS
They are
and
here.
Ranger, and then Fort Barton.
Thank you.
Okay. Municipal capital. Again, this one is pretty straightforward.
There isn't any.
I'm sorry?
There isn't any.
Exactly. What is this capital reserve 313 number on here?
Oh, okay, so every year, when we close the books, and the 25% that gets moved from the general fund
Yep.
to the restricted account has to go through as a transaction on the docket.
Okay, so we use that-
was what
that account?
moved over
Okay.
in '24 to '25.
Wonderful. Okay, next item, town government. This is the town clerk's office. Do we have any questions on the council for section 1010?
We really can't adjust that, can we?
There's not much to do here,
Well, we
Unless-
don't have any power over her.
unless Madam Clerk wants to make any alterations.
Actually, I do. I want to reduce software maintenance by $7,875.
I was wondering about that.
Hold on, you're gonna make me do a calculation. By, what's the number, 7,000?
$7,875.
So instead of the 15, you're asking for that?
Yep.
7538 is the number. Any other alterations there, Madam Clerk?
7535. I'll be good with that.
So you're going down from 15,413 to.
So
Yep.
minus 7878?
7875.
Okay.
Yeah, 14.
7538 would be the number there.
Okay.
We can get the $3 back later if we need to.
Take it from council- council contingency.
Okay,
What's the total, Joe? 73?
so the total for the clerk's,
7538.
Okay.
total for the clerk's office will be 346,084.
Joe, can I have that number again?
346,084. All right, next item, town council, 1020. Stipends are the stipends. I do have one question on the contingency. I understand we are entering negotiations with one union.
That's me.
Do we think that that number might be a little high going into that negotiation?
That was my question too. I think that's a little high.
Potentially.
So could we reduce that by like,
50?
I was gonna say 75, but I'll compromise.
That's one that we'll flag to revisit if we need to.
Well, we can always figure that out. Like, it's only 50,000. We'll find that in the budget.
Yep.
So
All right.
that goes to 200.
Any other questions or alterations from the council on 1020? Okay.
So
Next-
that final line item, Mr. President, is 260,
Correct.
Okay.
The
we
solicitor's
do it
asking
at
if
the
you make a
end?
formal motion to cut.
I just want to, you do, these are all preliminary votes, I guess, that we're doing, okay?
I mean,
Yeah,
I
okay.
would say we can operate on consensus unless somebody
That's
has a
fine.
strong
And then
feeling,
at
and
the
then
end-
we'll
Yeah,
just
that's
vote
fine,
it.
yeah.
Okay, next item, 1030, Board of Canvassers. Again, can't really,
It was
Making-
flat,
No change from this
no
year.
change.
nice and flat, love it. Next item, 1040, Town Hall operating expenses. Any counselors have any?
I just have a question on telephones.
Yeah.
So what we did was I took all the telephone accounts from the building official. We pay one bill now. So what is happening is, or what the practice has been, is each individual department head would sign off on that one bill. But now what I'm looking to do is I'm going to sign off on that one bill. So this way for tax assessor, tax collector, building official, town, all of them will be one bill. So we took them out of the existing accounts. As you'll see, they're zeroed out, and they're all under one account now.
Excellent.
Makes sense.
I never understood.
That was my question.
I do have one question under building maintenance. Given that we've been picking a lot of this off via CapEx and the casino money, would that be an area that we could find another 10 grand?
I would caution you with this building maintenance, that's also a lot of your supplies and just routine maintenance.
Okay.
So that's like maintaining the building as we would normally maintain the building.
Okay. Any other questions from the council on that? Okay. 1050, legal services. I'm assuming it's pretty straightforward. The solicitor gives us a bill, and we're a pretty litigious community, so. I'm
So
sure-
I'll speak for the solicitor. We've had conversations. Clearly, I mean, there's been some movement around, but where we've seen the biggest, obviously, increase is planning and zoning. With all the work that the solicitor and Mr. Romano have been doing, and also given just the current rate of what is going on for their legal services, I do not think a 7.69 increase is unreasonable.
How about prosecutions? That went down.
So that's going to be a discussion, because just as by way of history, ma'am, we don't have an official agreement with the police prosecutor. So that's something that over the summertime, I'd prefer that the council go out to RFP.
Okay.
So that is just someone that works with, and also possibly expanding the services. But I think for the time being, there's a little bit of savings there, which is why I reduced it a little bit.
Well, because we have 17.3 left over right now in there.
Correct.
So we haven't spent hardly any of it.
Well, it's based on the bill. So I don't think they've been billing us consistently.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Denise, do you have the land use and zoning up to date? I don't have that sheet.
Land use and zoning.
7175?
Land use and
60.
zoning, we have $10,000 remain. Is that what you're asking for?
He's asking this, Denise, I think.
Denise,
Which one?
what have we used so far?
I'm
For
telling you,
Land use and zoning?
2999.
30,000.
30,000?
Yes, we have 10 left.
All right.
Oh, yeah, because that's going up
I
to
had
60.
the answer to.
Do you have it as of, what's your date on that?
April.
Could that potentially be reduced to 50, or is
So it's
60 safe?
probably, this is the last one we got.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's
You actually haven't gotten that one yet. How did you get that?
331. I'm calling it April because it's 331.
50% with.
Okay, so I have one more month with me.
Yeah.
We still have, Mr. Administrator, how many more alterations do we have to make to the zoning?
Well, I mean, ask
Or
them.
solicitor.
They got some, you got a lot
I
of
was
stuff
just
coming.
gonna say, yeah, and we're here at 0, and
You got a lot coming down.
we've still got a lot coming
I
down.
mean, I will say that most of our time, the last year, has been zoning. And we're over, and from my perspective, from my firm, we're over budget.
You are.
We're looking at two different things,
Over
though.
budget and can't be zeroed out for next year.
Well, the remaining
Ten zonings
balance.
together, sorry.
is nice.
But I mean, we saw a lot of planning come before us.
Well, planning, because the zoning changes, they
Use
have
the
to make a
mic, please.
recommendation. I'm sorry?
Use the mic so we can
Oh,
hear.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'll forgive you.
So planning zonings together, I
Correct,
understand,
yeah.
I understand that. So are they both like at about 50%?
Oh, I would say most of the stuff that came before us last year and this year has been zoning. It goes through the planning process because they have to give the recommendations, but all the changes that we've made were to the zoning ordinances.
Yeah.
And we have not only the planning board doing, but then we have Deb's
Zoning.
zoning committee, which we haven't gotten any of those proposed changes yet, correct? Not yet.
Not, I only just took it over, so not,
Food chickens.
we're working on chickens right now.
None of those have come before us, and so, and
Well, it's one we can look at.
yeah, that's fine.
Let's put a pin in that one if we have to scratch out another 10. Okay. 1070 Planning Board. Notice we get a 100% increase across both line items here.
Does anyone know what the reasons are?
I'm assuming this is the same because you're spending a lot of time, energy, and
No,
effort there.
that's separate from all.
Yeah, but if you look at the actual,
Planning board, our legal fees, planning and zoning together in the legal
Yeah.
item, it's not in the planning.
Madam Treasurer, where do we sit?
Right now, they've spent 5,000 in 7155 and 1,400, I'm rounding, in 7198.
And I'm assuming that
Hold on a second.
7198 gets reduced if we actually hire a planner.
No, that has
I
nothing
don't
to
think
do
so,
with that.
because I think that's like engineering and.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's not the planner's
but she said
salary.
1400, correct? That's how much is used?
What number is that?
So we originally gave
1,400.
10,000. We transferred 2,000.
Yep, and they've spent 1,400 so far.
Right.
I'm willing to go to 10 on that.
And right now we have 6,653 left over.
I'd cut that to 10.
Well, since I was going to highlight it, but somebody locked the spreadsheet down, Madam Treasurer.
I didn't lock that.
There's a reason for that, Mr. President.
Yeah,
Did you lock it down?
Which spreadsheet are you looking at?
the one that the administrator forwarded,
Oh,
the Excel.
okay.
The one that he
The
logged?
treasurer gave me some very good advice, and I tend to follow it.
Listen, that makes total sense. I would like the unlocked version sometime now. I want to play with it. All right, so are we thinking consensus-wise to cut that to 10?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a lot in there.
Okay, so that'll bring 1070 down to 16 grand. Zoning Board of Review, public stenographer. Are we way over budget on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had, so don't forget, we've had 2 hearings a month for the last 18 months because of seasons. So that will hopefully be over. It will be over by June, hopefully. So I don't know of any other,
There are still major land use developments coming in front of the planning
but
board.
they might not be coming for zoning, but I don't know that. I wouldn't, you know.
Would we be safe with 10 there?
Because they don't have to all go through zoning, John.
No, I understand, but I mean, we all get the emails, so I'm assuming that there will be enough public outcry.
Right now, they've spent $9,300
We've had-
to date, and every year it's been climbing, but this is the most significant year.
Mr. President. Mr. Solicitor, are these private?
Yes.
10?
And do their rates increase as well at some point, or what?
I don't see the bill, to be honest with you, so, but, I mean, they obviously do increase, yeah.
Yeah.
So. But again, I think most of the increase you're seeing because of the overspending is because we had.
Yeah.
We had a tremendous amount of work, like I said, seasons took us at least 13 hearings.
So can
And
we
they were
do-
long, so they changed, they not only, they not only charge by time that they hear, then I have to order the transcript, and they order, it's like, you know, per page that we have to buy, so that's.
I mean,
where that
given that's the big one is done, I mean, I still think we need to have some dollars in there, but
Yeah, we're required to have a stenographer at the zoning board.
Suppose we
75?
reduce it by, yeah.
75?
I was gonna say cut it by 5, but,
I'm willing to go 75.
75.
all right. Minus
You guys-
75,000, awesome.
7,500.
Yeah.
Treasurer just had a heart attack.
All right, town sergeant is what it is. Town administrator,
Cut that one.
yeah, I don't know, there's numbers.
You want to talk about town, we kind of talked about it, but townwide internet and web.
I will say, if you want to cut the automobile expenses, the $5,000, let's cut that. Sorry, chief, but the police department can take care of the vehicle as they always have.
Cut 5?
Okay.
Cut 5.
Townwide internet is 150% increase.
Yeah, that's the new fiber optic
That's the new fiber optic stuff, right?
connections that we actually can stream this live without buffering.
So now about website support stipend,
And that is, that's for Mr. Robert.
that's for Mr. Roberts.
So he hasn't received a pay increase in a number of years, and now with the IT that's coming into the building, so I think it was a fair increase to give him that stipend.
All right.
The 50,000 for IT consulting, I'm assuming that encompasses the website redesign?
No, sir, that encompasses daily IT needs.
Got it.
With the Everlasting Design who comes in and handles the day-to-day issues that
Okay.
Mr. Robert can't handle.
That's for everybody.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And that
Not
makes
police
sense why it
and
would be
fire.
here.
Well, they do ours too, will we pay them separate?
You guys pay them separate.
511 is the new one? Yeah.
Okay. Any other issues? If not, that drops it to 333,216 for the town administrator.
Is the employee assistance, is that 100%? That number?
Yes.
Okay.
So the Employee Assistance Program, that also was another kind of same idea of the telephone. So we took it out of the police department and the fire department, and where this is a collaboration with the school department, that is going to afford an employee assistance program townwide for both school and municipal side, and we get a 50% reimbursement from the trust. But we have to obviously allocate the money, and that would be the amount per year, but we'll get 50% back from the trust. But also half of that half would be encumbered by the school department as well.
Okay.
So $6,300 for a good EA, wow, that's
And
wonderful.
it's, yeah, it
And
was,
plus, we get half that.
Yes, sir.
that was a huge win.
Maybe the trust can give us a little discount on their health insurance rates as a result of it.
Mr. President,
Yes.
the new line town administrator account, right now there's 0, we skipped over it or appeared to skip over it. Are we looking to put something in there for his discretionary use?
Yes, this was discussed in the contract, correct?
So no.
No.
No. So the town administrator training is my contractual training, so that's the $5,000.
Okay.
Above that, I think he's
The
talking
one
about.
above the town administrator account?
So that would, yeah, I zeroed that out at this point because, well, I just did. So I'm fine. So if I need to get something, I prefer, I'll come back to you folks. It's, and if there's anything that's significant, no disrespect to all of you, just going to do it. And then we'll come and I'll discuss it. But if it's anything significant, obviously, that needs your approval, then we'll come back and do it. But to have the line on, I appreciate it, sir, but it's, every dollar counts.
I just had flashbacks too. We already have the guns in-house. All right, so we're at 333216 there. 1140 land use, formerly building and planning. Again, we've got some salaries in there. Copier services look flat.
So, Mr. President, just so you are all aware and the council is aware, that reduction that you see is part of removing the assistant planning position. It's just my philosophy that we need to focus and concentrate on getting a planner first, which is why you saw the increase in the salary to make it more competitive. But there is no assistant planning position, and hopefully, knock on wood, if we get a planner, and that's my intention during this fiscal cycle, then we can revisit the assistant planner next time.
Okay. So we good with the 384.4?
Yep.
Okay. Probate court, 1070. Modest increase to the judge. Any consensus on that item? Okay. So for those keeping track at home, grand total general government's 1.782900.
Peeled off 104,000.
Good work, guys.
Can
Next.
I just ask?
Yes.
Why do we have no recording expenses?
I was actually moving it to the town clerk's budget for recording expenses. So I only get one bill. So
Makes sense.
why put it here? I just moved it over there.
Okay, finance and administration, tax assessor, 2120.
All contractual.
Almost all contractual, yep. Modest bump for supplies and miscellaneous, software maintenance. I'm assuming that's contractual number as well, provided by,
Correct. That was all provided by the assessor. And just for the record, sir, just as you can see, the salary increases, remember, these are two salary increases. So this is reflective of a salary increase that was already appropriated, but it was the other budget year. So this is not just a 17% increase, it's two.
Yeah.
And you're going to see that in many of the department heads.
okay. Revaluation, 2130, stays the same as prior year. Do we have any questions there, Counselor?
That's a restricted account, right, Denise?
Yes.
So that's what's in there now?
What's in
I
there now?
was just about to ask what's in it now.
This is where we build it up year over year, so that
Yeah.
when the reval comes.
145,000 in there now,
Okay.
so,
I think that's like a $300,000
Yeah.
bill when it shows up, so.
yeah. It gets spent down though over
Yeah.
time a little bit.
All right, Madam Treasurer, this is your budget. Any alterations you'd like to make?
Just the telephone came out.
All right. 2150 tax collector. Obviously, with the addition of education seminars, removal of the telephone,
Salary times 2 years.
salary times 2.
Yep.
Okay. So that's still 194,597, 2,000 for tax sales. Still seem good there, okay.
Insurance.
All right, now 2190 on the insurance side. Thanks.
The HSA increase, is that contractual or?
Well,
that
we
something?
added the DPW this,
Yep,
so that was not reflected in the 25 budget.
Perfect, okay,
So you had to increase it for that, which is why we're over right now.
perfect.
Shorted right now.
So these are actual numbers?
As close
As
to
close as
actual
you
as
could.
possible. So
Okay.
I went
Which isn't a
over,
big increase.
it's not because what was approved last year, there was so many vacancies, and there have been quite a few hires that are buying back instead of taking the insurance. Once they get to be 26, they get added on, but we can't tell that.
yeah, and also
So I looked
reflects.
at what we were spending this year, projected it out, and, you know, we're gonna have some money left over from, in 25, and then I added the 12%. So,
Okay.
Okay.
you know, if we have a hiring, like a big bump in hiring and people are added on, you know, we might have to revisit it.
Okay.
The retiree number, I'm afraid it might be a little short. I came up with, we're looking at I think we're gonna be looking at, around 1,050,000 this year. So if you add the 12% to that, I think we might need to add a little money there.
To
But there's always been movement between the two, because if we have a firefighter or a policeman retire, they move from active to retired. So it's a constantly moving number. Well, not constantly, but, you know, it's
So if
hard
we
to
want
nail
to,
down.
if we want to add the 12% onto that, it gets us to 1176
What line?
to the group health insurance retarees.
Retirees.
527.
526.
Can we go
5269.
Yeah.
Can we go 1,100 safely? And 1.1?
I mean, 1,000,001?
1,000,001 safely?
I think so.
Well, we're gonna, if any of the overages roll forward, we can allocate those dollars.
They don't roll forward.
No.
Okay.
They do not. We did get the actual trust bills for the other items today, or just got it today.
So we want to go, 1-1?
Yeah, keep going. You're gonna go 1-1?
Is that what we're doing? Consensus 1-1?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that, what number is that?
5269.
269. 1100?
Yep. I'm sorry, Madam Treasurer, you were saying.
So I didn't get a chance to look at dental today, but I think we're gonna be okay.
Okay. So 3690, or 3.69 million for insurance.
So, our property and liability is going up to 326 instead of this 320. I got the bill. Now,
Okay.
sometimes during the year, we have to pay deductibles if we have an issue. So we can put in here exactly what they're telling us they're gonna bill us, or there's always a little bit more, a little cushion. But the workman's comp, believe it or not, is going down.
What's that
So the
number?
workman's comp, the projection is $90,022. So you might be able to just move some between the two.
So if should we go 95 there?
I would go 95 there,
So 125 to 95.
and that gives you another 30. So
I put
you
in
need
326
6.
for,
So I would maybe do 335.
okay.
And that's so another 15.
So 3675. So essentially, we're up $49,000 year over year.
75.
Okay, audit of town accounts, 25 flat.
We have the 3-year deal.
Love it. Pension plans, again, these numbers are calculated. The only number we have actual control over, and if we really do need to get skinny, would be the police pension plan, which you've also blocked out, Mr. Administrator. That's one that we could potentially come back to if we had to. And if that was going to be the case, it would be my intention to re-advertise and amend the gaming ordinance to cover up the shortfall there. Because we do need to get that funded. But for now, I say we leave it in operations at 1397745 total.
So what percentage are we at for the plan?
It's a flat number for the pension. What are we sitting at, 89% funded right now, approximately?
I think it was 89. It's
But
on my cover sheet.
Yeah, unfortunately, there have been changes to mortality tables and a couple of other factors.
And there's been significant reduction in assets.
Yeah, we've got whacked the last month and a half.
Yep,
Last 2 months.
yep.
All the more reason why the objective of this town should be to get to fully funded status and then do bond ladders as opposed to putting it all in the marketplace, but separate conversation for a separate day. 2250, Social Security, again, this is
It's a calculated field.
calculated. Something I do think we should revisit, looking at a FICA alt plan at some point. There's probably some savings to be had there. Unemployment,
It's always 15.
always 15, love it. We didn't spend any in 2023, 2024. All right, unfunded liability, sick and vacation, 100, we're flat there, which, unless
We're
we
over
want to.
29,000 this year.
I'm
so-
sorry?
29,000. So I don't know if anybody else is leaving between now and the end of June, but that needs to be taken care of.
We're short, 29.
We're short.
Okay.
That's very typical.
So we're up to 679224 for grand total finance administration,
What do you have? 67?
679224 for the grand total for that category. It was calculated, so I just went down.
Did I miss a,
67924?
6790224.
Could you tell me what you have for,
111 for the.
fire pension?
retire-
Could you tell me what you have for fire pension?
Fire pension?
Yeah.
Let's see, where is that?
592,054.
I have 604,660,
Okay, so you're working off a different spreadsheet.
Yeah,
and I can't change it now.
You're working off an old one. You're not working off of what
We have
was in the packet.
592,054.
Yeah, because I got a savings of 13K right now, and you do have it projected higher.
so you're working,
As long as we make solid notes.
All right, hold on.
I'll send you this one.
Can you? Well, can you save it and then send it to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been saving it every minute.
All right.
yeah, so she, yeah.
All right, so let's do a quick pause while treasurer sends that to me. I'm not gonna save my alterations there because it's incorrect.
There's lots of other tabs on this.
I'm fine.
I can trust you with them.
Yes, I won't mess with that.
We'll look at it tomorrow.
Which is your email that you, which one?
Town council, J. Edwards at tiverton.ri.gov. In case anybody at home wants to send me an email.
Right now,
I can get that anyway.
It's on the website.
I know.
Call myself.
Website.
I just did it as well.
Let's see how fast that internet's working there, Mr. Administrator.
It's not working. It's not working yet.
It was not working that well today.
I don't think they've upgraded us yet.
They just ran the lines today.
Okay. Well, that explains it.
Great. Oh, it's in the downloads.
I like all the new artwork. Yeah, it's lovely.
Get this.
I know.
There's just a lot of holes in the drywall here, huh?
They're doing a great job.
They are.
Yeah, it looks nice.
It really does.
Nice color.
What color is it?
Might be the ocean.
Sea salt? She thought it was gray at first, then I said mint green, but you, sea salt, yeah. Although my sea salt looks white.
Sea salt.
The sea salt I have at home is white. No, it's a different brand. It's not Morton.
Yeah, it's a
It's
quick
not
commercial
sea salt.
break. But this is better than doing it, like adding it all up at the end. That's where errors happen. Then Dave Roberts yells because we get the wrong tax rate.
Okay. You should have it.
I haven't seen anything yet,
He's
but
still here, he's hiding somewhere. Yeah.
I checked the junk email, make sure it didn't go in there. It did not.
Are you pouring this over into the summaries?
Yes.
The ordinance, so I'll have those numbers. They're awesome. There's Excel queen.
It hasn't come through yet, but we're gonna pop open Outlook again.
Seriously? Still don't have it?
Still do not have it.
Now you feel our pain. This is our pain.
I can tell the camera guy, may need to take a 5-minute recess. We can't all go running back there.
Right.
It's in my sent folder, so it went.
You sent it to J. Edwards, right?
I sent it to
Because,
J. Edwards
okay.
at tiverton.ri.gov. No 5, nothing like that.
Let's see if you get mine. We were cooking along, too.
Sorry. Oh.
It's not your fault.
Okay, I just got something from you.
All right. Well, maybe
Did
you
it go to
just...
your spam?
I checked the junk email. It's not there.
I'd help out, but I can't get it.
Could you just respond to the email I sent you and then tack it on there?
Yeah, I gotta close it first, hold on.
I knew you were gonna give Robert.
Did you see all the sandwiches back there?
No, but we're not on commercial break. We're kind of live still.
Oh, got it. All right.
got it?
There's nothing. There it is. Okay. And we're back.
Always been.
Okay.
Okay,
So grand total is, what do we got, 677,618?
yes.
Cool, awesome. All right, protections and properties, 3310, fire department.
What was the final number for finance admin?
6777618.
Yes. Boeing 777.
Thank you.
The only change that, I don't know if you can see it, there's a highlighted cross.
Yeah, the EMS
That was the
incentive.
budget committee recommendation.
To up
After
it?
discussing it with the chief was their note, so I put that.
But isn't that contractual?
We discussed it with Chief Bailey.
What was it?
Chief,
So this number came down though, I believe.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
by 12,000, 19,500.
correct.
Yeah, it's gotta be a lack of medics and we have
All
a
right, so
lot of-
explain this. So what's the new number?
I have 154,700, which is a
Correct.
26% increase, and that's contractual?
That's contractual.
it
And
was
based on the new,
174.
Which one?
increases they're gonna give for paramedic and cardiac in the new fiscal year.
Got it.
No, okay, I see.
Contractual it is. That was easy.
Yeah.
Thank you, chief.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The correction though is that in our backup, it was 174.
Yeah,
And then
okay.
he spoke to the chief and it came down to 154.
Wonderful.
All right. Overtime. So,
How are we staffed-wise?
we're pretty good, right?
So we're at 30, budgeted for 32. We have a recruit graduating Friday from the academy, and we're interviewing for potential lateral hires for the remaining position over the next 2 weeks.
So pending Warren stealing 6 guys from us.
Exactly.
So, you really think this, you don't think that's a little high, 35, 350?
So I think this flow-through with the increases that the firefighters are gonna be getting, it's driving the overtime rate up, and there's no guarantee that we're not gonna have people out, FMLA, IOD, they also get comp time, personal day, sick time, vacation time.
But how much of the driver was unrelated to those issues? How much of the current overtime spending, what was the driver that was unrelated to the issues you just talked about?
Well, the vacancies.
Yeah.
Right.
The vacancies.
So what, how much of that? What percentage of that?
80%.
Yeah, probably 80% of that.
So does this take into account the reduction in that?
It does. I mean, I still think our overtime, even at full staff, because we're only staffing one additional person above minimum, so anytime there's 2 or 3 people out, you're in an overtime hiring situation to meet minimum.
Mike, year to date, they've gone 450,782. So,
Yeah, but that's good.
that has to do with all that overtime.
Vacancies.
Yeah. I just think that's a little high, but I don't know.
Don't forget, that number right there, you also spent some,
We did a budget transfer, is that what
you
you're
did
saying?
budget transfer and you, opera money.
Like 150.
Opera money's not in here.
Yeah.
All right. So say we spent about 600,000.
Okay.
I think so.
All right, well, that makes
That
me feel a
helps.
little
That helps,
better.
yeah.
What did you say that you have one vacancy?
Two.
Yeah,
Two?
We have a recruit graduating on Friday, and we're interviewing 4 candidates over the next 2 weeks to fill the remaining vacancy.
How long does that take in the academy?
It's a 12-week program. It's going to 13, I believe, starting in July, but currently he's in a 12-week program.
That's 3 months. You won't get them out for 4 months. The others are laterals, correct?
The other, the 4 that we're interviewing are correct. They're all laterals, fully qualified,
start
will
quicker.
not
They
need
start
to go to the academy.
All right, I feel better now that I
Right.
know that
Okay.
some was
Right.
taken from casino
Yeah.
or wherever. Opera.
All right, so we'll leave that unchanged for now.
Mm.
I'm gonna throw a yellow highlight in case we have to come back and find some more money.
Can't we keep it at 350, or you really think
I
400?
think 400 with the raises now that are gonna be going through.
All right,
If we get desperate, we'll come back and go 350.
I think it's something to think about, but I
All
don't
right,
know.
but for now, we've got consensus at 33,74,890 for
Total for the
fire department. No, this is before operations.
Yeah.
So next up would be operating expenses. Software maintenance number at 50 grand. That's, the administrator is shaking his head yes? Okay.
That was the first due program.
Okay.
And other software programs that the fire department implemented.
So medical physicals?
So the heat,
Say it again? So this medical physicals, this $16,000,
you never
So-
spend it,
it never gets spent, never.
never. And it's not even contractual anymore, right?
We tried, in
But it didn't
negotiations,
work.
we tried.
But it didn't, we didn't get
It's
it.
basically, we encouraged them, but we couldn't force them.
They never do it.
Right.
So would we be comfortable cutting that by 10 grand?
Which number is
Well,
it?
how
again?
much,
It
I
has
don't,
nothing, it has nothing to do with the recruits, right, chief? That's a separate,
So we do psychologicals out of that,
so we would have to keep some.
some, right?
So if we went from 16 to 10, or to 6?
What line is that?
That is line 6968
And 16,000 down to,
to 6,000.
yeah, and we've spent only 5,300 in there. And we took 40,
Yeah.
we took money out of there, too.
That's one of the ones that we always raid when we need something.
All right.
Apparatus maintenance, I like that, I like that number there.
Can we go to personal and protective gear, go down the line there?
Yes, sir.
So we budgeted another 40,000, we're asking for 40,000 this year. Didn't we just bring, doesn't everybody pretty much have two sets now and we're brought up to
They
the
do,
grant?
but anybody that we would hire, and if we were to lose people, we would need to have money in that account, and also for any repairs. But also, the gear that was bought didn't include helmets, hoods, or gloves. No, it was boots, and it was the protective gear, but like, it didn't include helmets, gloves, hoods,
Scott Air Packs.
Scott, the air mask.
Don't
exactly.
even go there.
The air mask, so we do need to have some money available in the event that if somebody needs a replacement, or we do hire,
Council acceptable, the 40 for now?
To be honest with you, I think that can go to 30. Everybody just got brand-new gear. Helmets aren't, the cost of helmets and gloves isn't astronomical, and we're gonna hire two, so there's plenty of money there to get two new
So which,
sets.
which slide?
Do they need to get a
Right
second
here,
helmet?
7322, personal
One helmet?
protective gear.
Yeah.
Not, because we're not here to grill you, it's technically his budget. so-
Exactly. And
If we
I
need
had
to.
this conversation with the deputy chief and the chief, because as you could tell, the number was significantly higher. And not knowing, my question to the chief and the deputy was, didn't we just get a grant to buy all basically PSAP gear for the, and they conceded to that, but as the chief and the deputy chief explained, as the chief just did, this is for replacement gear, and when issues come up, they wanted to have the money, knowing that the gear's expensive, as I'm sure you know, Counselor. So that's why I kept it the way it was for those issues that come up that they have to replace the gear.
so Mr. Administrator, you cut it down from 52.5 to 40,000.
It was actually higher than that. That's what was approved, and it was significantly higher. Then I looked at what the historical was, knowing that they taken into account they just got brand-new gear, and then cut it a little further.
All right.
I think we could at least keep it on the burner if we need some more money.
Yep, I'll highlight that.
Can we look at heat? Why did you go up 5,000? Because you didn't even spend 20.
We got lucky this past winter, though.
It was down to.
It was a little cold.
As you know, Counselor, when it comes to electricity, heat, oil, those are guesswork at best. We had a mild winter, so we got fortunate this time. The police department is reflective of the same thing. That's why they're pretty much flat-lined, but it gets dangerous when we're trying to predict heating and energy costs.
That's why I couldn't find what you were looking at until I looked.
Where are we this year?
You were reading ahead.
We're,
Short, I was looking at the budget today, and I believe we're, 500 in the red approximately.
Hey, are we seriously looking at 6910?
Yes, sir.
Was a $5,000 difference, but you.
I was just wondering, I mean.
Because the
what-
actual was 23,538.
Well,
so
I gotta tell you,
That's
that's
close.
the stations are
Cold?
cinder block buildings, right?
Yeah.
There's no,
No, I'm just wondering.
I know, but there's no, like, the insulation isn't there, the value,
Exactly.
it was
And
blown
I'm
in
sure you can speak to
insulation.
it, Counselor, that the fire department, bring an extra blanket when you're at the fire department.
Unless you're Bobby Gannon, you bring your plug-in.
So we can go back to the gear line and just add blankets to that.
Electric blankets.
All right, so for now, we're at 631,450 here. Total fire departments, 4,006,340.
Where did you take 10 from?
The physicals.
Medical physicals, so 16 down to 6. Next item, 3330, police department. Guys, good luck at arguing with the administrator here. He knows it inside and out.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, strictly on salaries, again, all contractual. Not much really to play with here.
I mean, where you're seeing some of the savings is longevity, holiday pay, even though, like the fire department and like many of the departments, we've given significant contractual raises, but when it comes to the longevity, we have a lot of new people.
Yeah.
So the longevity goes down because the senior people are no longer there.
Which is unfortunate. All right,
So the 5102, clearly a typo. We didn't pay the senior clerk $511,000, right?
5102.
Oh, wait, yeah, 5102. Back to the senior
So
clerk.
can we go back and look at the fire department longevity?
yes, yeah, the actual in 2023, 2024. No, because that 5102 wasn't broken out by individual, that's a summation of 2023, 2024.
That's
that line
total,
all the way
that's
down.
total AFSMI employees.
All right, all right, I want to make sure that that doesn't reflect somewhere in this, in a bad way.
So, and now it's
0.10,
broken out
0.2%.
by ASME.
0.2%, I should say.
Again, all contractual, same thing with general contractual mandated expenses.
Can I ask the question?
Yeah.
Did you want to go somewhere, Craig? What did you say?
Can we go back?
Yes, sir.
You bring up a good point about the longevity. So, I mean, the fire department has an increase here, and we have a bunch of new employees. I don't know what the justification is or the, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know how many people we have under 5 years, they probably don't even get longevity.
They don't.
No, they show, the fire department shows a decrease of
0.2.
0.2, yeah.
It should be lower, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
I'm saying it should be a lot lower than
Because I
that.
would say more than 3/4 or less than 5 now.
Right, do we have a number
Is the chief still here?
of?
He's
it's tough.
calculating.
Yeah.
Was any of that contractual?
Well, it's
Well,
contractual.
it's all contractual.
No,
But
no,
it's
but I'm
based on
wondering if
numbers.
that number increased. I don't remember, Denise, if that number increased in negotiations.
You mean the percentages?
Yeah.
Correct.
It
I don't
did-
believe
it
they
did.
did.
But that's a number that you calculate.
No, that's something
No.
that Judy calculates through the
Yes.
fire chief and gets presented to me.
Got it.
So if you want to flag it, something we definitely look at, but I would not change it or recommend that you change it at this
But
time.
Craig is right.
I'll highlight it for now.
Yeah, 3/4 of the department's new.
Yeah.
Chief's gonna be in the back texting Judy.
We didn't increase EMS. Oh, maybe we did.
EMS got increased.
No, not EMS, longevity. No, we didn't touch that. They wanted to, but we didn't. And there's only like 5 of them.
Yeah,
There's not many.
I think I'm not sure of the numbers, but I think it's just something to look at for sure.
Yep. All right,
Good pickup.
back to police department. Down to general contractual mandated expenses. Mr. Administrator, these are all calculated for the police department.
Correct. And you'll notice that it's a 1.63% decrease because of the employee assistance is pulled out.
Okay?
Longevity in the fire department.
Operations.
And the police department.
Police department.
Big number.
Software service contract went up.
Just a reminder, it's nothing that we have to worry about now, but We did sign the software service contract for the state, and we're part of a pilot program. So that number that you see for software, and that also includes the accreditation software, includes the scheduling software. So it's not only the CAD system, meaning the computer-aided dispatch, and the record-keeping system, it's all the virtual systems that we use. But we did sign that agreement, and they've already told us that whatever we pay now is probably going to double next year. So that account is going to explode because of again, just putting it on your radar, does not impact this budget cycle, but it will the next one.
Okay.
Will that integrate with the fire department's new?
It will, because
New software?
it's just going to be the dispatch software. So I know that Fire Chiefs Association, along with the Police Chiefs Association, they're talking to one another about how it's going to impact them. But as far as the IM, basically, and you can understand it, Council, it's the IMC.
Yeah, didn't the fire department just go to a new IM responding, or?
They did.
So that'll integrate with the state
It should.
CAD?
It should.
Hopefully.
I would think it would, but I think the more importantly, it's going to take care of the dispatching, which is part of it.
Okay, so if no other changes to operational 4713212 for total police. Municipal court.
The medical supply, the medical supplies that you guys, that the police department purchases?
Yes, sir.
Exactly what is that? I mean, it's
So
3,500 bucks.
So that's not only medical supplies, but also that is hazmat cleanup. So when something happens in the cell block, something happens in the booking room, we call hazmat folks to come in and clean that up, and it gets pulled out of medical supplies.
All right, never mind.
Thank you.
Okay. 1960 municipal court flat,
So what did you get for the total police department, please?
4713,212.
Yep.
No change. 3350 harbor master, or sorry, Harbor and Coastal Management Commission. Got some increases here. And again, water quality testing is 500 bucks. Water quality certificate, 500 bucks. Dinghy dock operations.
Harbor master, didn't we give him a raise? We gave him, I think we gave him I want to say we gave him 15, no?
Yeah, we gave him a raise, I thought.
Yeah.
Right. Wasn't aware of that. And this is based on what they submitted. So do you know when you gave them the raise?
You weren't here?
Doesn't ring familiar to me.
Yeah, we gave him a raise,
I think when we did his contract,
Okay.
which you weren't here for.
I can double check.
Yeah, I would, it's either 12
be
or
online?
15. What?
Yeah,
Does
it's just
contract
gonna,
be online?
Probably.
the finance is in the contract,
Yeah.
it is.
I think we just voted, it was either 12 or 15, wasn't it?
Because because we
Mike,
talked
you
about.
were here?
he
Yeah, I
had
know, but
never-
I can't-
He had never had
Oh, all right, so-
he had never
You
had
think I
an
can remember
increase.
that detail?
What was it, the harvest?
I remember the weirdest things, and I don't remember what I had for supper, so.
where are the contracts? On the clerk's website?
Do you
No,
remember
it's
this,
on
Joe?
the town website. Documents.
And at the bottom.
We definitely gave him a raise, he didn't ask for it, but we said we hadn't given him.
He was just reappointed in December, and I don't remember any.
There's no contract online.
Yeah, there was a vote to give him money.
He's not a volunteer. He gets paid a stipend.
We'll have to look at those minutes, because it's not much, but I mean,
And it was this year?
Yeah, I think there was.
somebody
Joe
said
said
it's
it
in
might have been
December.
December,
Yeah.
this
I think-
fiscal year, but
His term expires at the end of the year.
I can remember saying
so
we,
end of 2024.
Yeah. So it was either December or January.
well, Mike was with us,
Reappointed
he
him
said.
I thought we did, but I thought it was
On
anyway.
November 25th.
What?
You reappointed him on November 25th.
All right. And was there a motion to give him a raise?
I don't see one. I don't see any dollars,
You agree with me,
I
right?
do,
Yeah.
unless it was in another motion.
Yeah.
So I'll look around there while we're talking.
I think it was like, I don't know if it was 15.
It was 12.
Because I remember that was the meeting I asked him, if it was harbor patrol or harbor management, that's a lot of management.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it's only $2,000, we'll just figure it out
Yeah.
later.
Uniforms, clothing, everything's the same. Online mooring service, but we're gonna see increased revenues to offset.
Good operation.
Yeah, Dave Banya's doing a great job collecting.
I know.
All right, so grand total protections to persons and property, 8796202.
What was the number?
8796202.
So far.
All right. So, 5540, Public Works. We're leaving the salary unchanged, Mr. Administrator?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Maintenance workers. Oh, the director's still here too, in case
How
we have any
many
questions.
employees does 582,921 encumber? Do we know that?
Yeah, it's what's presently there, right? The employees.
Is it what's presently there, because
No,
they're
it-
still short?
No, it's,
There are open positions as well.
yes,
So this would
There's no
account-
increase to any, it's the funded positions from this year,
yes.
that's it.
But how many positions is that?
Yes, the 5101 that I put in for that item is based on 8 full-time steel workers at the fiscal year 26 contract rates, and 1 part-time mechanic. All these basics are in the line item backup. And in my opinion, this is satisfactory staffing. The prior budget request, which is why there's a decrease, was level funded for the fiscal year 24 and 25 due to contract negotiations, and also included the landfill crew.
So this is a reduction then from the last budget.
No, this is the same.
This is,
Yeah, somewhere that reduction from 12 to 10 to 8 was slipped in there.
So,
That's for another meeting.
yeah, moving off of that, clothing allowance, we want to bump that number up because of the contract, right?
Correct. Clothing allowance 5168 is showing 1,200, but we have an agreement with them. That should bring that to 13,500.
yeah.
That's right, you.
But these are the, you guys have the ones that I submitted 3/11/25, is that correct?
Guess what? I
We
didn't
don't
have
need
that.
yours.
We're looking at May 9th.
This is the first time I've seen this.
Okay, well, that's a problem.
So, actually, it's lower.
It's lower, it's lower.
You've got 507 here.
Yes, this was submitted, the revisions was submitted based on the questions that were asked, and that was on March 11th, 2025.
All right,
So
so,
what numbers are different?
That's on me.
so let's go through them now. So, maintenance workers, Mr. Director, what did you submit?
Is that
507.
5101?
Yes.
5101, yeah.
Yeah, it's 507,670 for the reasons I explained a minute or so ago.
Okay.
That's not gonna fly.
Wait a minute, so in 2024
That's a
was
reduction.
582,921.
Yes, and that's because there was negotiations were going on for 2 years. So fiscal year 24 and fiscal year 25, they were level funded. This is an FY 26, of course, and the negotiations have been settled. This is based on 8 full-time AFL-CIO crew members and 1 part-time mechanic. And also, the past 24 and 25 included the landfill crew. The landfill is closed. That's why there's a reduction.
So you did reduce the amount of positions.
He requested it, I did not approve it. So because it does say in the contract that this is a town policy decision.
Okay,
Yes.
The
so,
council makes a determination as to how many people
That would be
are
the next
funded
agenda.
in any of the departments. So that's why it was level funded by me. The
Got it.
director is recommending a reduction of 2 in staff.
All right, so.
I level funded it until we could do this, so you can make a determination on whether you wish to follow The director's recommendations or different recommendations?
So the administrator's recommendation is 582921, which would be those unfilled positions.
Which would be
Correct.
10
Inclusive,
positions.
okay,
I was just gonna say 10 positions, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
All right, so clothing allowance did go up 13.5.
So we need to make a correction then also on that clothing allowance, assuming 10.
But that, but
Yeah.
I think you're saying first we have to decide if we want to go down to 10.
No, from 10 to 8.
10 to 8, I'm sorry, 10
It's
to 8.
budgeted at 10, correct. If you want to go down and with the DPW director's
582
recommendation.
is 10.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, my
Got it.
recommendation is because the landfill closed.
So this is 8.
But you kept the 10.
I did.
All right, so if we're keeping the 10, it would be 15 grand for
Correct.
clothing allowance.
15 grand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
1,500,
Because
1,500 per,
it's per,
times the number of open positions. Or the number of positions, I should say.
Yeah. No, are we making the decision to keep 10 then? Because we're gonna approve the 10.
Budget's
10.
I think-
Yes.
budgeting for 10, whether you keep
Okay.
10 is, that's another.
Right,
was
but
gonna
we're
say, I-
budgeting.
But that would be a
that's a-
separate, I mean, again, assuming the budget moves forward. And again, we have one more shot, we have one more bite at this apple after the public hearing. So in between now and then, we would have to make a decision. And if so, that's when we would drop that salary number down, as well as the clothing allowance number to reflect 10 to 8.
It's 15,000.
Yeah. So that gives you a total on just the salaries of 838,986.
I can't find anything in the minutes about the raise for the.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
No, me neither.
And I have Mr. Cox's recommendation with the budget. There is no
Yeah,
mention
I
of a
know,
raise.
and
I
said,
think
why
that
don't
we
give 'em a
did,
raise?
right.
Yeah,
I thought we did, but.
yeah.
I remember
You
talking
look like I
about,
looked to it.
You know
did.
what?
I looked
Why don't you
backwards,
ask
too.
him?
I will.
He'll know if you're gonna raise it up.
Yes.
All right.
Tyler.
Operating expenses, uniform rental's still in at 5,400.
That's the mechanic.
That's just the mechanic?
Correct.
Okay.
oh, that's just a certain subgroup.
Yeah.
of them.
Correct.
Next item that I looked at was the snow removal contract service.
I'd like to slash that one.
Well-
We slashed it last year, and it went back.
Do you
up
remember
again.
last year, what we did was we made this a reserve, a restricted account?
I don't
So,
believe we
yes.
did.
No,
it.
for snow removal, that, you're thinking of sand and salt.
No, we did
No, we
snow
did snow
removal.
removal too.
Yeah, and Denise said yes, and so did Mike. So the snow removal was a restricted account.
Correct.
Because we were just putting money in, it was going back into the general fund.
So what's
So
on
right now, that snow removal has 77,000 in it.
71.
Are we talking about 6451?
Yeah. Yeah, we made that a restricted account.
So then let's cut it right in half.
We checked it today.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because I thought so.
In June of
But at
last
the
year.
time, We kept,
With the
like,
paving on
not,
that.
like, putting 50% back into the general fund. and-
Yeah.
We made, if you recall, we used to do it by resolution, then we changed the budget process. I think the last budget, we had a resolution to make it a restricted account, but after that, we then passed an ordinance to make it permanent because we had to wait to the end of the next fiscal year to pour that money over.
So right now, there's 71,000.
So that's by ordinance, that's restricted account.
But are we talking about the same thing? Because this is contract services.
It's the
Right.
same thing.
That's the
This
privates.
is when we hired.
That's the private individuals,
I
right?
thought the 6451 was not restricted and carryover, and that the 6698 was. I can be
Paving?
corrected on that.
Yeah, paving is,
No,
Paving,
No,
drainage,
sand-
curbing, and
no.
sidewalks. Sand, salt, and gravel.
yes,
No.
Sand, salt, and gravel is also.
right.
no,
But,
what
and
we're
it says
discussing right
specifically
now-
6451.
No, it just says sand, salt, and gravel.
So it's sand, salt, and gravel's restricted, yes.
And snow
And-
removal.
Here they're restricted
Restricted
accounts.
appropriation accounts are
Yep.
reevaluation, elections, paving, drainage, curbing and sidewalks, sand, salt and gravel, and snow removal.
I'm looking at
Because we weren't, it was the contract, because we weren't paying for a lot of contractors.
Yeah.
Because we weren't plowing.
So we have 70-something thousand in there right now?
71,000.
I'd cut that to 65,000.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Well, no, I'm thinking even less than that. I'm thinking 60,000.
Put 50,000 in there. At the 50.
Well, I would probably not go that low, but.
Well, that gives us
You got
125
70, you got
rolling into,
71 in there. You put
and
50,
these,
that's 120.
and the contractors are the ones who come in when our guys are, like, they need to back up our guys, if we, or if two guys go down or
They're
something.
supposed to assist, not
Yeah.
take over.
So chop it to 50.
Up to 50. I like
Okay, you going to 50?
Yeah.
Well, we just
64.
saved $80,000.
6451, let's go.
And then there was one other that I had a question.
Minus 50,000?
Paving and sanding, that's restricted, okay, all right.
But
that's
that
fine.
also increased as well.
So sand, salt, and gravel is restricted.
It is restricted.
What is,
There's 48,000 in there now.
okay,
That could be spent down a little bit between now and the end of June. Like snow
Really?
removal, there's not gonna be any more snow removal.
But are we gonna sand, salt, and gravel?
No, but didn't we buy,
That could be spent down between now.
We bought ahead.
but we bought
some
ahead.
We bought when the price was right.
Right.
Yeah, but we lost a lot of that salt, too.
yeah, we did, it turned into giant rocks, they couldn't break it up.
They couldn't break it up, and it was all over the parking lot. The parking lot was
We
white.
took care of
You
that.
took care, yeah, okay. But my point being is that we're looking for another 110 in there, and we've got 48,000.
So I don't know what the plan is if you're buying any more, but.
I mean, part of the intent of the restricted was to build that up a bit too, so that if we had a really bad winter or whatever, we'd be able to pull from.
75,000?
So the,
Global warming.
if we look at actuals 23, 24, we spent 96,952.
Correct, but that may not be including storms. That may be just padding the supply.
Well, that's what I mean, is we're stocking money aside in case we have
So
to.
do we have anything, any sand left?
Yes, we have sand and salt left.
How much?
Yeah.
A lot?
Oh, I would say we basically have a salt and sand igloo, basically 90 to 100% full.
So what is that, like how much in a typical, let's say we get 6 inches of snow, how much are we gonna go through out of that igloo? Are we blowing through the whole igloo, or are we using a quarter of the igloo?
Actually,
This is what we have now.
We had a stockpile coming into this past winter.
Yep.
Denise is looking up how much we spent, and we only had eight maybe storms.
You spent 51. Oh,
so you spent 51 this fiscal year that we're living in right now.
And so you're looking at 51 on only 8 storms. Thank God it was not a bad winter. You can't project that in the future.
but you said you have a whole bunch already in there.
Yes.
Close
But
to
we
100%.
ordered a lot last
So-
year that we had outside the area.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And
Right,
that
but-
was
I'm willing to
Jeff-
go
on
90.
top of the 58.
Rick,
So how
John's question was, of the igloos, you're about 90% full, you said, for
90 to
sand?
100% full.
Okay, so in a snowstorm of 6 inches,
Yeah,
how much of that would you generally use? I know it's hard to predict, but would you use a quarter, a half,
Well-
3/4?
I would phrase it this way, we spent 58 plus the stockpile that we had. So we bought some last year, and I don't know if Denise has
We spent
that.
97,000 last year, so if you spent 58 on it, that would have left you with 40,000 in stockpile.
I mean, my thinking is take the 110 down to 75, we've got 50 sitting in there, that gets us to.
We have 70, right?
Well, 48 and change, so round numbers.
No, I was thinking the
40 we have
snow. Never
70
mind.
snow,
Yeah, I have it right here.
48.
So we get 48, I mean,
Yeah,
if we go 110 to 75,
I'm willing to go 75.
that gets us to 125 sitting in that restricted account.
That's good.
And we
And it's
scoop
90% full.
anything that's left, stays
And we basically have,
from this year.
I'm gonna guess, two or three snowstorms in
So-
reserve.
No, a lot more than that.
Real quick question.
I mean,
Madam Chair,
you might not know.
so how much do we have left to move over?
48.
No, from this year. Right now, you have 48.
Yes.
So if we put 75 in next year, that gets us to 125 going into the storm with a 90% full igloo, which could be 1 or 5
20.
snowstorms, I don't know. But,
You need your crystal ball
yeah, yeah.
for a lot
I
of
think
this.
that's more than reasonable. I rode with them for 2 storms this past winter, and it literally depends on, like, the precise temperature, the amount of stuff, it's crazy. They
So-
could start off sand and end up plowing and then be done.
So you want to go down to 75, is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, everything else seems,
Paving's not.
pretty flat.
It is noted on the 6794 that because some years that's in capital and some years that's in operating expenses, that amount was requested on the operating expense, and it's noted as such, and it's also noted that on the capital for fiscal year, we requested it. But
Well,
we
you're-
said that we requested it on both because we do not know how the council wants to allot it.
Yeah, but you're getting 200,000 every year from gaming now. We
Yes.
changed that. So now every year you get the gaming 200,000.
That's nice and we appreciate it. Bear in mind.
You didn't know that, did you?
Thank you. Paving estimates, because of the bids came in around 35% higher this fiscal year.
Didn't we join some kind of paving program? We
Well,
discussed it.
RIDOT has a 3-year program where they're giving you about 1/3 back, but that's not necessarily indefinite. And again, the rates went up 35%.
So I'm hearing you say is you're gonna be back when we do the gaming meeting to ask for some more money. Okay.
It's up to the council to decide where they allocate it.
Yep.
But it's allocated in both, so you can decide.
So I have 6794 as a 0 right here.
But what I was
Right.
trying to tell you is you're getting the betting money now that normally went into the general fund. We changed that this year. So you're getting 200 every year now.
We appreciate that.
Okay. So
What percentage of the public works budget at the end of the fiscal also goes into that restricted? Isn't there a percentage of the unexpended?
Oh, yeah. It's
25% of
25.
unexpended
All right, so
funds
25%
goes
of the
into
unexpended.
paving.
We happen to know what that was last year? You don't have it in front of you.
Right.
Well,
It's in the.
goes into paving, though, that's going to go to general operations.
Correct.
It goes into
Correct. It goes into
paving.
paving, correct.
Yeah, paving is always getting money.
I thought it said general.
No, that's what I'm saying, there's various revenue streams for that paving
Yeah.
account.
all right, so not to belabor the point, we're at
Zero anyway.
we're at 489860 right now for public works ops, gets us to 1328846 total public works, which is a 3.67 or 64% reduction. 1328846. Okay, street lighting expense.
442,000.
What?
So
That's what went into
442,000.
paving,
Yeah.
442,000.
And I
We had a
understand
good
s-
year last year.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
also understand some of that was vacant positions as well.
No,
No.
this is unexpended funds.
Oh,
The whole budget.
oh, the whole budget.
25% goes into
pave everything.
paving, 25% goes
Pave
into
the bank.
municipal capital.
Pave the walkway.
So every dollar we don't spend, they get a quarter.
All right, so street lighting
You
expense
hear that, chief?
projected at 90.
Can we have a total on public works again, please?
1328846.
Thank you.
All right. I mean, it is what it is for streets, street
Well,
lights.
street lighting, I'm a little worried about this number because the
You worry
solar,
about the weirdest things. Go ahead.
I'm worried too, but for a different reason.
the solar credits, that you never know what we're gonna get. And Rhode Island Energy had a major problem processing the credits. I have somebody in my office who is like right on it, and actually, we got a reimbursement from them for solar credits this year. A lot of municipalities are having major problems. So, we do our best, but if the sun doesn't come out, we don't get the credit.
So do you want to
So just
keep it
keep
at
that in
90?
mind.
Oh,
Yeah.
You want to keep it at 90 for now, though?
I might have gone up to 95, but I know the challenges we're facing, so.
All right, let's leave it at 90 for now. We can come back to it. Hydrant services, unchanged. Trash and recycling, 1.5.
What is hydrant services?
That's the money that we pay to the two different water departments to,
It's
have
it's like a
fire
goodwill
hydrants.
gesture, basically.
Goodwill.
They used to, when I first started here, we used to get a bill that was astronomical, thousands and thousands of dollars. And this is all we would give them. It used to be 600, and it went up to 800.
I know in the Barrington and the Bristol budget, there's a rental fee for the hydrants. The town doesn't own them.
Greg thought he owned them. We owned them.
I know we can't even paint them, so if we're buying into them, they should at least let us paint them.
trash.
The only thing in revenue, did we put the pay-as-you-throw in revenue?
You have not addressed that
I was gonna say, we
Yeah,
have
I
we
know
have to,
that.
we have to
This
address,
just reminded me.
Right,
so we
but this
might
number
remember
has to
this,
be
everybody.
gross.
yeah, we have to address the ordinance in order to fix that, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
The trash number has to be a gross number.
Right, but I'm just thinking, okay, because I didn't see it in revenue.
That's one of the ones, when we get to revenue, that I was gonna harp on. All right, next one,
Can I
5530.
just go back to the rubbish?
Yeah.
Is this the new contract that we signed with the trash?
We are in, what, year 2 of Mega's contract, and this is the
Yeah.
contractual increase.
This is-
This is a renewal, if it stays as is, with non-automated.
Correct.
Okay,
No change has been made to that contract.
okay.
But this is based on the fiscal year '25 existing, multiplied, and again, these basics are in the line item backup, times an estimated 1.06 CPI.
So it's year 2 of the contract.
Or 3, or whatever one we're in.
3, I think.
Yeah.
Year 3,
I mean, right now it's 2, so this would be 3.
Yeah.
okay.
Recycle center equipment rental, I'm assuming that's contractual.
Are you sure? There's an actual of 1239 and a request for 21.2.
Yeah, but that was, well, I'm assuming we're renting the fencing, right?
The recycle is rented fencing.
Yep.
21,000 for that?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. We're going from $1,239 to $21,200.
No, you're not looking
No,
at this,
no,
that's
you're
not this
not
year, that's
looking.
the year prior.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going from
Two
26.
fiscal years ago.
Well, I get that, but the actual amount used was 1239.
What do we get for actuals in that account,
39? In 2024?
Madam Treasurer?
Right now, we've spent $479. $479.
There you go. That answers that question.
Are we not paying bills there,
I
or?
think that was for that. That was for what we were gonna spend. That was everything.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, if you don't mind, that the recycle center has gone through a few iterations, and it has been, each time, hope springs eternal in the human breast. We think that yard waste collection. And based on yard waste collection, you have a rental fee for the grinding.
But we don't accept that anymore.
Well, no, but each year when we propose our budget, it hasn't been eliminated yet. And when this budget was proposed, we were still gonna have a recycle center with potentially an expanded recycle center.
I see what you're saying, okay.
So that's why.
The only,
But as of now, and I
the only
mean,
thing we're paying right now is.
knowing
porta
that we're paying Mega to acquire the yard waste for us and take it to Rhode Island Resource Recovery, I mean, we could literally cut this down to 0.
Well, the populace calls us and says they would like yard waste. We don't have the ability to take it.
Right, but
Yeah,
because we just approved a new, well, approved for you to go finish that lease. Right,
Yeah.
yeah, so we're keeping the current location as is for at least 5 years.
yeah.
So I understand, I get calls too for yard waste, but the decision has been made to do what we're doing now for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't have engineering approval, and we
So-
can't expand to do the yard
Does
waste.
Mega not pick it up right now?
Yeah, they
Okay.
pick it all up.
Mr. President,
All right,
They
so,
do- they
Mr.
do
President.
12 collections.
so,
It's all up.
I mean, we spent, what, $500 on this thing this year?
So you need about $1,000 in there to cover the porta potties.
Okay, $1,000.
And if you want the fence in there, then you'd have to add something for that. But that
I
could
don't have
also,
the cost of defense. Do you
I-
have the cost of defense?
no,
Mr. President, what did it cost us to put that recycling center in, the temporary one, the one we have now?
$14 now.
No, it wasn't much. We had to do compacted base, put up some fencing, strap the
I don't know what
fence
it
to the
costs. I've
trees.
heard rumors of
Yeah.
$400,000 or $500,000. Is that even close?
There was engineering involved, but it was, I don't think it was anywhere near, we haven't
No.
expended anywhere near the money that was set aside to do it.
No.
There were engineering fees at the original site, which was not this site.
Yes, which was
And
across
the
the
second
street.
And the second site, so we moved twice.
Yeah.
That's where that rumor comes from, and it's not a rumor, it's true. We spent
So I'm
tons of,
correct.
we spent tons of engineering fees.
So that's going
When
1,000.
Northborough
Okay.
came in, because we moved it for them, and then we moved it the second time after that, right, Rick?
We moved it, we proposed it at the one that was going to be taken over by
In Northborough.
We had a design for where we are now to expand, and that has now.
That has gone all the way side too, because you just signed a 5-year lease and we're obligated to
So
remove.
part of that was for the expansion and it didn't
Right,
happen.
So, it's not a rumor, those engineering fees were incurred.
All right, I get it.
Of those dollar amounts that I'm talking about.
I mean, we can look from power, but they were not cheap. I remember Chris having a very hard discussion with the council as to.
So,
There's also gaming available for that too.
that's what I'm saying, so now that we're going, so this, doesn't make any sense to me to rent a fence for $21,000 a year.
No, we're
but-
not. That's what they're just
Taking
saying.
it out.
Sorry, all right,
The
thank
fence is
you.
only about, well, about 1,000 we said for the porta
Yeah, I missed
potties.
the whole thing, and I was.
Yeah.
He was
I was reading
anticipating, sorry.
He was anticipating the expansion for the yardways.
Correct.
That's what that
But
20,
that's
a
the
lot of
law.
that was.
But when the budget was done, we didn't have a purchase and sale agreement with the,
Right.
to sell this property.
Yeah, but even so, we still have a contract that they're gonna come and take the
Oh, that I
hours
don't know. That, yeah, I'm
with-
sure we do. I
With
don't.
Mega, so.
Right, but that's
we're not gonna-
that's not here. That's in the contract. That's not here.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if we have that contract, we're not gonna take yard waste anywhere.
Oh, yeah,
until
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
done with that.
All right, have we not moved?
Because that would be foolish.
So-
We haven't gotten very far.
All right, so I got 6442 at 1,000. Electricity and propane makes sense because they have a propane heater there for.
So what, I'm sorry, what were we doing with the rental?
With the rental, take it down to 1,000?
I would make it 2, because you're gonna have to have the rental for the fence.
Yeah.
Are we paying a rental for the fence now?
Yes. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think it might be around 1,000, might be 1,200, something like that.
So can we make that 2,500 total?
Yeah.
And where is that reflected?
I guess it's in the rentals, whatever.
All right, let's get rid of this
It
thing.
wasn't, it's not reflected in that number. Again, this was set up a long time ago for this particular budget item.
So
Okay.
2,000.
No,
So
2,500.
2,500 on 6442, 870 on electricity and propane,
Did you say 2,500?
2,500.
2,500. Madam Treasurer, next line item, the 5540 for landfill engineering testing permitting. Given the fact that we were the lucky recipients, thank you to the administrator, of dollars to finalize closing the landfill, I'm assuming that means that when we address the ordinance, we can still take some of the bag revenue and direct it towards this cost?
The ordinance has that already.
It does?
Yes.
All right, so we should pull this number out.
Well, let me read the ordinance, hold on.
That was a hiccup a couple of years ago, so unless it
I
changed.
think we fixed
So-
the hiccup.
Yeah.
The ordinance is 6650, sorry. 100% of said fee less administrative expenses shall go into the restricted account of landfill closure fund upon the certification or notification by the Rhode Island Environmental Management that the Tiverton landfill closure is complete. All residual and subsequent fees shall be deposited into a restricted trash hauling, recycling, tipping fee account, and any future costs associated with the monitoring of the closed landfill.
So
That's the current
we can
ordinance.
zero this thing out.
Well, if I may say, the key point that Mike mentioned is when DEM accepts it,
They
they
haven't
have
accepted
not
it yet.
accepted it. It is still going through the process of the closure report.
But it's not being closed anymore, we're not spending any money.
Right, but because the clause says they need to say,
Trigger, it's the
okay,
trigger,
we're
yeah,
good. Yeah, that's the
Okay.
trigger.
Just transfer 300,000 in the last budget.
That's been in the ordinance.
So is there any way to see where we're at with that trigger being pulled? To see if it can be done before our preliminary hearing, budget hearing, and maybe?
Sure, that's a good point, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to suggest that we highlight this one, go to the budget hearing,
66.
and then make the alteration there if we can.
You looking at 7139?
Yes,
Yes.
71939.
Okay.
Because PAR likes to engineer themselves future work. I don't know.
Well, no, I disagree, John. They have to do monitoring.
No, I know.
Monitor.
I'm making a joke.
Yeah, you just,
So my suggestion is we leave it there, preliminary hearing. If we get the answer that we're closed, then we zero that thing out. Instant savings, everybody's happy. Bulldozer repairs, obviously the bulldozer is not running. I think we should take this one to zero as well.
0.
oh, yeah.
We have no bulldozer?
We
There's-
have 2.
We have 2 dozers.
But they're not being used.
They're being used, but not much.
Okay.
And they do run, correct?
They
They do run.
Where are they being used? Just,
Well, again, the hope was gonna be one of them at the Yard Waste Center, at the recycle area. But the other one is used at the garage. It loads things. It also could be used on like
Alright.
Cemetery Road if we needed it, et cetera.
How much have we spent out of that today? Sorry, I keep asking you for actuals.
This fiscal year, I think we probably haven't spent
Anything.
much, if anything.
No.
I think that was
So,
just recently.
Mr. President,
I just rated it so we could buy concrete tables for the Grinnell's Beach.
Oh, it doesn't
the
look like
one
it.
that we have reserved for yard waste,
You haven't spent
do we-
any money at all on that.
Counselor Burke.
the one that we have reserved for yard waste, do we need to keep that for 5 years? Can we sell it as surplus? And then if we need one later, buy one later?
I would say that what we've been getting on surplus equipment in the last couple of years is
Better off rating it
peanuts.
for
Better off
parts?
Okay.
Okay. But I mean, and again, I think there's an opportunity to leverage the existing bulldozer as long as it still works because.
We can rent it out to other municipalities.
Well, no, I was gonna say, we are gonna have to relocate the recycle center
I
at some
think
point.
maybe we can give it to Warren. Sorry.
Give it to who?
All right, so we haven't spent any money out of this minus the concrete tables.
Yeah, why don't you tell Warren they can have a bulldozer? Yeah.
Are we comfortable taking that number from 25 down to 5?
I'm comfortable taking it down to 0,
Okay.
but
Comfortable to zero.
Just in, I mean, in case we need to fire it up and it needs an oil change or whatever the case may be. It's still in good condition, right?
Zero in it.
No, that's what I'm not saying 0. Take it from 25,000 down to
If we're going
5.
to keep the equipment, you're gonna have to keep it maintained at
Right.
some level.
So 5.
So 5.
Yeah. You're looking at me funny, Counselor Camino.
those haven't
Okay.
moved in the 2 years I've seen
No,
them.
he wants you to give it to Warren.
Just drop it off on their police doorstep.
Here you go.
On-site wastewater treatment compliance program, contractual, I'm assuming, with Tiverton Wastewater?
Didn't, no, we took it over
Oh, I'm
2
sorry.
years
This
ago.
is for us to send the letters
Oh,
out.
This is the one
Yeah.
that we do now, yeah.
This is a software, it's a database, I believe,
Okay.
that they maintain.
Comedy?
Yes.
All right.
Well, we're saving you one letter after this week at home.
All right, building maintenance division, you get salaries, AFSMI, longevity AFSMI, contractual.
Why did part-time go up so much, seasonable part-time? Went from
We
6,000
cut
to
this last year,
38.
because it wasn't
It was-
used.
Yeah, but it's
Cut last year, and we requested and were approved for a transfer. So again, on that, on the backup data form, 5180, that's based on 22 weeks at 2 seasonal, at 40 hours. You do a great job, and that is $22 an hour.
What are the seasonal guys doing? Are they just, what do the seasonal guys do?
Last year, and we expect them to do the same this year. They did weed whacking along state highways.
Okay.
They helped out at recreation areas. They helped out with the building maintenance crew and the road crew.
What
Counselor
building
Camino? I sense you have something to say here.
I'm just thinking maybe we can cut the part-time if we're gonna fill the other 2 positions,
Not
2
only that,
full-times.
there's maintenance requests on buildings to be painted, and then we have a crew right here, and these still haven't been painted. I'm willing to cut that down.
We've only spent 9,700, and we have 16,000 remaining in there.
That's because of the fiscal.
Because it's seasonal.
Yeah, because it hasn't,
You're right.
we're gonna catch them when, starting
I
next
just-
month?
Hopefully this month.
You're right, though, because we're.
I just think if we plan on going from 8 to 10 and filling the other positions that I believe are needed in the town, because these guys work hard enough, and I think they need more help. Well, this is almost another salary here, we should
Well, the other thing
eliminate it.
the thing that concerns me here too, and I agree with you, is that there was a request for 10,000 last year. It wasn't used the year before. It was cut, and then the amount of transfer was more than what was originally asked for.
We were never blessed with any people who applied. Last year was the first year in something like half a dozen years.
Maybe
So
those guys
that's-
wanna go full-time?
So that's my question. They probably wouldn't start until June, July.
No, they could start,
They-
at least one of them could start this month.
And do you have people in line who?
Have at least one person.
Okay, because if we were to hire, and I do agree with Councilor Comito, if we do hire into those full-time positions, we probably wouldn't need this, but when will we hire into the full-time position? Will it take as long as after the summer?
I do not know.
Well, bear in mind, this is the first part of the summer, because we've only got this month and then June, and then you're into next year. So if we zero this out, then like, you guys are gonna come, they're gonna come, welcome, and also you're fired.
Yeah.
No, but Craig does have a point, though, if we
Yeah.
hire,
Right, but are we gonna hire them before,
like I told you, we have 16,000.
All right, so we have 16 grand in there now. Can we take this number
cut this
down
in
to
half.
16? So we go 16, 16, gets us through July and August?
Yep.
That gets us to 32, well, we have to, it's not restricted, so it's not gonna roll over. So therein lies the issue. It's actually gonna go out in the form of asphalt on the streets.
But again, you know, yeah, I'm willing to cut it to 0 and hire what we need to hire.
Yeah, but there is a point that once the new budget comes, it'll say 0, and we don't have anyone hired.
We go back to the original ask of 10, 23, 24.
Can you explain that again? Say that again?
So this budget is only till July.
July
This
1.
budget
Current
starts
budget.
July
June
1,
30th.
and nothing rolls over in this account. So July 1st, if these men are working, we have no money to pay them if we haven't hired somebody.
So-
Because we have 2 absent
Well,
positions.
you'd be having to transfer it out of the DPW and backfill the snow.
Backfill it from the 10 positions.
Well, it went over
That's what
budget
we
last
do.
year.
Yep.
That's what we do. So we could make it 0 and backfill it with those 2 full-time positions.
Unfilled positions.
Yeah, because you're essentially, but I'm assuming by the time we hire for those 2 positions, you're probably looking October, right, at the earliest?
Well, we have a hard time hiring
Right, that's
these
what-
positions.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Because we don't pay properly.
Well, we did, well,
Yes.
we did do better.
Not throwing a foul. All right, so
How do you want to handle if the seasonal start,
you have 1 currently scheduled to start?
don't have a schedule, they have to go, he's a returnee.
Okay.
So he still has to go through the process, the administrator has to say, okay.
Well, you have money to pay him until July, and then as of July, you request to pull money out of those.
How many hours are they typically working in a given week? 40?
Anywhere,
part-time.
anywhere from 30 to 40.
Having a hard time following
But how do you request a transfer for a fiscal year that hasn't started without them having to start on June 30th?
No, and that's my point, is that if we're gonna have at least 1, we've got
After July 1.
we've got 1 guy, but if they're working 40 hours a week at 20, at
We don't
20.
need a part-time right now.
What I'm saying is if we're working 1 guy at 40 hours a week at $22 an hour, over 9 weeks gets us to September, from July 1 to September, that's $7,900.
And there's
That we-
16,000 in there.
And there's 16,000 now,
There's 2
so,
employees.
no, which means he can hire him, and we need to allocate $10,000, and that'll get him through the season for 1.
Because one employee is about 19,000.
Oh, I see what
Yeah,
Rick's
because you have to
saying.
do FICA and all that.
Okay, if,
So
10,000.
2,000 an hour times 40, times 22 weeks, looking at about just shy of 20,000.
if you hired the full-time people.
But it doesn't have to be
you'd have to
22
let
weeks.
the
It could be
It
20.
doesn't have to be
go.
2, it doesn't have to be 2.
I mean, like I said, last year, we cut the budget, and then the budget was
The
way
ones that we have
overspent.
now.
Part-time ones.
We do have at least 1.
He hasn't hired them yet.
But I'm assuming he's gonna put him through the process to hire him, and
Right,
we
he's
and
in
we need,
return. We haven't
yeah.
hired anybody. So we hold off on hiring any part-time people. We have a couple of months to get to the new,
Yeah, but they start working now.
So, all right,
And the
here's how we solve this. Mr. Administrator, do you intend to hire the returnee?
Well, not to throw it back on your laps, but you're the policy board.
Right.
If you tell me that you do not want to hire this and defund it, then I don't.
Let me rephrase. In a perfect world,
Yes, I
knowing
would
that,
take a recommendation from the director. As seasonal help, as the town administrator, I would hire them. They do not have to go through the personnel board.
okay.
Does seasonal help paint?
What's that?
Does seasonal help paint?
They will be able to paint.
Exterior buildings?
They would be able to paint inside or outside.
So
Bear
what?
in mind too, Council President, that we're probably not going to have a maintenance custodian, because he is probably leaving that job for another one, probably, but that's not definitive. Therefore, there may not be anybody to help
Got it.
the maintenance building foreman with all the trash and recycle that
And-
they collect and cleaning, they do it recreationally.
So what
And
I'm
there would
hearing
be
you
an
say is we need at least one.
There would be an unexpended salary for that as well, so that money could come out of there.
Also a fair point.
Let's cut it to 19.
19 is a lot.
Well, 19 includes what you have to, FICA, that's for one.
When
FICA
you,
and all-
when you
all that
hire
other stuff.
seasonal, they go when? Now? End of May?
Last year, they started the first or second week of May, and the second one started the second or third week in May.
And when do they go until?
They might have been September, might have been October. It was at least September, I
Okay.
believe, maybe October. And it depends on which one.
All right, so let's say they go to the end of October.
22 weeks approximately.
Okay.
And there's no benefits to this, no vacation, no benefits.
So they work, they get paid, they don't work, they don't get paid.
Correct. No holidays.
Is there a risk of that when they're working 40 hours a week? I mean, they're being hired with the understanding that they're temporary, but if they're working 40 hours a week.
Labor law-wise, we were told by the labor lawyer a couple of years ago that that's not a issue.
All right,
We
let's
have-
make,
We have tons of seasonal.
I would say we
people.
do whatever it costs us for 22 weeks,
Yeah.
including FICA and all that kind of stuff, whatever that amount is, we put that in.
well, the
for-
FICA's
for one.
calculated based off of this number, so if we
Right.
put
It was
in-
definitely an issue in the fire service when we tried to hire part-timers.
So if we
They could
do,
not work a 40-hour week.
So, but part-timers are, I think they're different than seasonal.
Right.
Seasonal is a limited time frame.
They're not permanent
Right.
employees.
so to answer your question, if we go to 20,000 on this line item, we're calculating FICA at 1530. And if we implement the FICA alt plan, FICA goes to zero.
So, but the total is 20,000.
20,000 in reserve for salary, and it also includes the FICA calculation. So it'll actually drop that social security number that we did earlier, the FICA number, because it's calculated based off all these salaries.
So let's go down to 20,000.
Oh, so here we don't have to calculate in FICA.
Correct,
Is that what
yeah,
you're saying?
this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
just
yeah.
raw dollars.
Yeah, okay, so then it's whatever the 22 is, which is how much?
20,000 would get us
22 weeks?
22 weeks, roughly.
Wait, so minus 18,000.
Gets us one guy for 22 weeks. Backfills this supposed potential unknown vacancy. And then if we have to supplement with a secondary part-timer, and we have openings, then we can leverage those dollars. But let's, I don't know, my opinion, let's at least budget them one, and
I agree.
What do we cut it down?
And that, just for the record, is still way more than what was budgeted the prior years. So,
correct. I think it would depend on hours worked too, right? I mean, I'm assuming we're not getting 22 weeks at 40 hours.
I wouldn't think we are. What are they doing? It's pouring out.
20,000.
They hang out at the building
Inside
or
work?
something?
Yeah.
They're not benefited.
What do they do if it rains?
If it's lightly raining, they're still outside. If it's pouring rain, which doesn't happen too much in the summer, then they do inside work.
Okay.
And the 10,000 was kept that way for years and years because
Nobody applied. Yep. But we-
What's the bottom line?
For
What did you go to?
20,000?
20 is what I put in there.
Okay, thank you.
Like one guy, 22 weeks.
Reading.
How's the Pringles doing?
Okay. Parks maintenance and mowing, personal mowing services, that's contractual item.
And that went up.
Personnel as
I'm
opposed to
changing that
personal?
to
Personnel.
Personal.
Nobody's getting personal mowing
Anybody
services.
personal? Yeah, we went up on that.
Yep. All right, so that gets us grand total public works, 3241, 696.
What's the field rehabilitation, 9,000, what is that about?
Let's circle back to that.
Can you give me that number, 32?
3241, 696, unless that's gonna change based off of account
Those are for the
6630.
rec fields? Rick? The field rehab?
The 9,000 for the field rehab,
Okay, what about it, sir?
what is it? What do we do with it? What is it?
That's things like blonde, infield mix, curbing, the infield edges, cutting brush if done by the contractor, anything like that. Preventive maintenance is things like spraying.
So this would be
Field.
that optional add-on that we talked, that was in like, here's all the ancillary services we could provide if you want it in that
Yes.
contract? Okay.
So what was that one expended?
So the mowing contracts.
I understand that, so, but
Yeah.
field rehabilitation is like, so the Little League just did a major renovation at.
That's what I figured you were gonna go there. Yeah.
So, I mean, why do we have $9,000 if they're paying for it? Like, so, I don't, what,
Well, that's one field, Craig, out of a lot of fields.
I know, but when was the last time we redid a field?
What did we,
Back
what
when
did we?
Bill
I can't
McGill
even
was
find
here.
where that is.
That's
So
my-
2019.
Dave Pont is set up for this kind of thing.
Say it again?
Dave Pont
doesn't
is set up for
follow
this kind of thing.
Exactly, so if, that's my point. If they needed to do something, or they would have to come back to us and ask. I think we should eliminate that from the budget too.
Well, no, that's why it's in this request for fiscal year '26, so they can do that kind of thing.
We have $7,795 still in there.
And one concrete table.
So, no, and I understand what you're saying, Counselor, but, like the director said, you know, we had the arrangement with Mr. McGill for decades.
Yeah, right.
So now we're moving towards Daypont.
Right.
So before you would eliminate this, what I could see happening is if Daypont's not gonna do it for free, it's gonna be in addition to the contractual line item, so that money could get repurposed.
Madam Treasurer.
In 2023, we spent $14,000.
Oh, that's weird.
And what was the project, do we know?
I was just gonna say.
It was multiple,
We could have a drainage issue.
I was
Kid
gonna
could-
say, I think it was
Yeah.
drainage.
Yeah, there
I
was a
do.
drain. big
I
Kid-
think
the
it
kid could
was,
rip across the field in the quad.
Sebastian
That was
Gentleman,
one of them.
and there was stuff done at Boogamosh Park.
Oh, yeah.
Fred's Tree,
Is Picasso
Russian
on there?
Pile.
Because we had rainstorms where Picasso got blown out from the drains draining into the field from the
I see material, stone, dust, and loam, but it doesn't say Picasso, from what I can see here. But there was a lot of work done at
Well,
Boogamosh
then I should
Park.
just, if we need to cut somewhere, I just think we keep it on our radar then.
Yeah, I'll highlight it. We can always revisit. All right, so the solicitor's gone, but that number's unchanged that I gave him earlier. Senior Center,
So you're not changing those numbers?
no.
Okay.
The only one that was changed was on the prior 5130.
So 3241,696 is good for.
3241, 696, yes.
Okay.
All right.
Sure. Senior center,
These guys, it's predominantly driven by contractual obligations
education seminars.
and
went up
heat.
Quite a bit. Do you know why education seminars went up?
Contractual, it was put into our contract.
Okay, thank you.
Programs and classes, everything's flat there, so.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Director.
Rick.
All right, boards and commissions.
I have a, oh, never mind, you're good.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over EDC. My apologies. 6200 EDC.
Oh.
Did we get a break on the chamber dues?
I had that highlighted.
That was from Mrs. Jones, so that's part of your backup as well. So that was her recommendation, so yes.
Oh,
She was leaving something out. She didn't want to do it.
She was leaving something out?
The, whatever, I can tell you. Give me a
Hold on,
minute.
it was in the backup, you said?
Yeah. I asked her too, and it was not a mistake.
I'd have significant reservations if we were dropping the chamber.
I don't think we are though, are we?
I don't think so.
There's no way that their dues are anything less than 2,500.
Yeah, I agree.
So what is she dropping? What is she doing?
I don't know, I got too many papers.
I have too
flying
many
around.
papers too.
I think we paid a separate fee for Discover Newport, did we?
It's one of those. The one
It
that's
might be discovered.
$5,000.
Might be Discover Newport, but I don't know why she's suggesting not to do that. But you're right, that-
It is the
yeah.
Newport County Development Council Economic Development Initiative. $5,000. We've paid it for the last 2 years.
Yeah, that would be the
That would be what?
the Newport Chamber, wouldn't
I'm
it?
assuming we're getting a break on the chamber dues because of being part of that. Would be
Chamber
the only.
dues is $12.25 this
Hmm.
year.
Yeah.
Well, so that number actually does need to change.
So,
1225.
It says 12:15.
She's asking for 1215.
No, I just
yeah,
corrected
she
it to
was,
1225.
she was $10 over this year. So it should be, I'm assuming it'll be the same, or it might go up a little.
Their supplies and miscellaneous budget is much larger.
They've been doing little cards, that you put
The
out.
palm card thing?
Yeah, palm
Okay.
cards, thank you.
Got it, okay. All right, now boards and commissions.
So are we leaving that,
1225.
1225, yeah.
1225?
Historic cemetery. That's a big increase. Does anyone know why?
Should
I
they
have
track
some,
I do.
some discussion. Oh, there you go. You're the liaison. Have at it.
There you go.
I do.
Chemicals?
Right now, they have, I think, 3 cemeteries, pretty much torn apart. The chemicals alone are like $40 a gallon just to clean the stones. It's gotta be a special chemical. You can't power wash it, you can't sandblast it, you can't do anything. The special chemical eats it, brings it back to like a pure white. They have, it's amazing what they do with very little. So we have a lot of broken stones, special epoxy. They call in some specialists from Westport, Graven, I can't remember the exact name, to help sometimes set some of the larger stones. Their budget has been underfunded for years and years, and these people are using their personal tools, personal equipment.
And you
They
just
don't
bought
they don't
them
have.
something. You just bought them that lift.
Was that historical, or was that the regular cemetery?
It was a tripod, it was a tripod.
Historical?
So, I mean, they need the money to employ the thing you just gave them
Yes,
to
so
buy.
it's a tripod that they just got, and it's with a chain fall, and they try to use that as much as they can to lift the stones. But basically, they don't even have any hand tools to do this job. I don't even know how they do it with what they have. So, to be honest with you, when Blake and I were going out to the grave sites and going through all this, we
I think
told them that.
your original ask was 25 grand or something, right?
It was a little higher than that, yes.
Counselor, I think it's something we should visit during gaming as well, because I want to propose during gaming having a storage unit for them, and they should have all the proper equipment they need. And I'm willing to put gaming revenue.
So one of the guys brought out a weed whacker. And I'm not making fun of this, but it was from Bobby Martin, who they put it back together, and like,
That's what I'm saying. If we
I
find
barely
a-
cut a blade of grass, and it's a sad thing that
These folks are just- these
the
folks
amount
are
of
just
work
too
that they
proud.
do.
Yeah, so
They were
give
just
them
too proud.
10,000.
Love it.
And it's an older crowd, so I mean, they need equipment to.
They are an older
Counselor
crowd.
Camino, I think you have consensus.
Yeah, yeah. Open space. Wait, open space has.
Flat from last year.
Yeah, but they still have 2,300 in there.
I can assure you they will spend
They
it.
will spend it, okay.
Okay.
Those couple of groups are right on their budgets, calling me up, what do I have left? We have things to order.
And the litter committee.
All right, so
The-
leave
the
that all
litter-
unchanged.
The litter committee asked for more
Yeah.
money because they didn't have equipment either.
And they actually submitted a reimbursement recently that
So,
was,
I
she
mean,
was taking it out of their own
That's
pocket.
a great
I know.
example, like, they
Well,
should be
that's-
sharing some of their equipment, like, if we had it in a
Storage unit.
storage unit, there's no reason why,
That's another one I'm hoping to
if
bring
the
back to the
blowers aren't
council for
being
gaming.
used, they can
We
go
got
grab it
10%
and
left in the igloo.
we can
We
account for it.
Put it in there.
So, does that look good?
Yep, I'm fine with that. All right. Civic appropriations, has anybody actually come to collect the money? I know
Mr.
we talked
President.
about
I
this
can say
every year.
every year, we disperse every
President.
dollar.
I just have to check with the solicitor real quick. Can I partake in all the discussion except for fire rescue, or do I have to recuse from this section?
Civic appropriations,
Correct.
Black Fire Rescue.
That's
Coordinator.
Oh, that's
That's him.
that's him.
Coordinator for the training center.
Oh, yeah, recuse yourself for that one.
Just that one, okay.
So can we
All
do
right,
that
so this
first so
is-
he can recuse?
Yep.
Can we do that one first?
Go finish my sandwich.
3 bites to that.
I mean, why would he recuse if he's like the director of it? Like, we need his input.
Yeah, but it's.
Yeah, but
Because
it's
it's money going
paid,
to-
you
Can't
can't
vote on
vote
it.
on it.
The fire marshal's the, it's money for it.
All right,
Yeah,
so
so it's 12, he didn't ask for anything.
1250, it's flat. I say we leave it alone. Counselor
Agree.
Paul, return.
No,
We're
he's
done.
eating his sandwich. He's eating his sandwich.
All right,
Samaritans, Newport County Mental Health.
So my one concern here is the Little Compton Food Bank.
yep.
We have a Tiverton Food Bank. Yes, I know some Tivertonians do use Little Compton, but East Bay Community Action runs the Tiverton Food Bank, but that $5,000 is not just for the food bank. They have multiple programs that our residents can and do take advantage of. So to give the Little Compton Food Bank equivalent to what East Bay is getting, I think is a little much. If we want to give them something, we can give them something, but.
This was,
I also run a food bank in Fall River, and I also get Tiverton residents. So I'll be applying for $5,000 next year. And I'll
Yeah.
recuse myself.
I've talked to somebody there, and he said they have a
Mr.
good deal of Tiverton residents.
Mr. Administrator has the backup.
Yeah, again, this was a request from the food bank, which is for your consideration. And their justification for it is they estimate that they get approximately 70% of their clientele are from Tiverton. So that was their justification. Again, only for your consideration.
I think this year we're running tight. I'm not sure this
I mean,
year.
I'm fine
Let me
with
flag it.
a small amount, but
right
I don't
now-
think we give them equivalent
To
to,
what-
either we do what they want here and we give East Bay double the amount, or we
Cut 'em
just
in half.
lower this
So
tremendously.
why don't we give them 2,000? Does that sound good?
I'd say 1,000.
Why don't we cut them in half?
Because I know what East Bay provides. I mean, we're getting a good bang for our buck for $5,000 with East Bay. Yes, they support themselves through other means too, but.
Mr. Administrator, so who put the request in for this?
Little Compton Food
Compton.
Bank. Yeah, they wrote a memo to me, and like the boards and commissions do. So their justification was because of the number of clientele that they're getting, and also given the current climate. They're getting a lot more clientele, and the majority of their clientele, according to them, are mainly from Tiverton, 70%, they estimate. Again, sir, this is an ask for them. That's that they're asking. They wouldn't get anything if they didn't ask, so.
That they
Did-
asked us.
did they ask for this specific dollar amount?
Can I make?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I make a suggestion? Highlight it. Let's get through the rest of the budget
Yeah.
and then come back.
Why
If
don't we
that's-
just say 1,000? Is everybody good with
Say no.
2,000, 5,000?
I'm into zero
Oh.
if we need money elsewhere in our
Okay.
community. That's just my opinion.
I think you better come back.
We'll circle back to that one. I got it highlighted.
Yeah.
Library services, not much of a change there. The director does a great job.
Is she still here?
Running a shoestring, but I told you not to hang out for this, but
Hey, Captain, could we power wash the library?
We did last year, and we had our
Doesn't look it
siding.
now.
Yes, the bird issue, we have a little bit of a bird issue.
Oh, okay.
There was a suggestion,
Just one bird?
well, many. There was a suggestion a couple of years ago to put bird spikes in, but we had a lot of pushback against that. So, yeah, we can do that as well, though,
Okay.
this year.
guys, we're talking about 2.79% increase for the building. I think we're,
Yeah, I just have one minor piece of feedback, and this is my own pet peeve, I understand that, and I mentioned it last week to Brendan. These are a waste. I like staples, I can maneuver it better. I know they don't cost a lot, but
I'll gladly accept it back to repurpose for next year.
I enjoyed it.
I will be sure to give you a stapled copy next year. Happy to accommodate.
you're gonna have mine. We all have these nice tablets. PDF it.
Yeah. I forgot my password.
I did go,
yeah, PDF is good too.
Catherine, I did go through the actual physical one too, but it's great, everything came out great.
Thank you.
Let me put mine back together for you.
Mike destroyed
This
it.
is minus
No, I had to take the paper out.
All right, so,
Okay,
Thank
total
you.
grants and, Grants Health, 689,700, because we're gonna revisit that last one. Parks and Recs, 8790 Beaches. Seasonal employees, big jump there, Mr. Administrator.
That's the lifeguards, right?
Correct.
That's a
Double
lot
the
of the
staff in
lifeguards.
total.
Okay.
That was in the request in the backup.
So, the minimum wage went up,
This is
which
lifeguards.
means that the lifeguards' wage went up.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's
Wait a
that
minute.
much, huh?
Part of, again, as part of your backup, this is for 8 lifeguards, 8 gate attendants.
Minimum wage.
Yep. Thank you, Providence, for that. Okay.
And operating supplies, he didn't go up a lot.
Okay. Summer rec.
I have a question.
Yes.
So are we going to continue to use Park Mobile?
Use what?
I mean, I got $10 this month, somebody paid while they're at the beach.
You and I both know, Madam Treasurer, that that's going to be a conversation I'm going to have with the
Okay, well,
rec director.
right now, there is a fee associated with the use, and there's nothing in the line item,
What would you feel comfortable with?
$500.
Okay.
We didn't appropriate, yeah, you're right, we didn't appropriate anything last year.
So 112,897. Summer rec, we get a nice decrease there on line.
I'm sorry,
registration.
Mr. President, I will just say that that is based on the recommendation, that 0 number is based on the recommendation from Mr. Gilfillan. So I'll double check with him, but I understand being safety, I'm all about it.
I
So
don't think he realized the way we do the accounting for it. We show the gross parking revenue and the fee. It's not a net number.
okay, thank you.
Did I steal your pen?
Are we losing camp counselors?
It's finding camp counselors,
Okay.
sir.
All right. Any other changes there? Summer rec? I think we're good there. Events coordinator, community special events.
She's worth every money, she's
Okay.
great.
So Parks and Rec, we're at 180,037. SRO's numbers are calculated.
So what's the total now?
Total municipal expenses of 25,462,711.
And what percentage is that?
3.41.
Did you know I was gonna ask that?
It's right next to it, so.
Mr. President, could you read that number again, please?
25,462,711.
Thank you.
So that's from 428, we brought it down to 341.
Yeah, is that what the original total was? Sorry, I don't have the.
462.
Yeah, 428, so we cut almost a point off of there.
213,000.
We got more than 200. Yeah, I guess.
I actually have 175. I must have missed something.
Yeah, we played around with a couple different numbers here, there, and everywhere.
So that's 341.
Do we want to go back and whack the Little Compton Food Bank?
I don't want personally, I don't want 5,000.
But they are
I do have to
servicing.
tell you, just to let you know, I do deal with them through Singing Out Against Hunger. And Singing Out Against Hunger gives money to them. But they've often told me that it's almost all Tiverton residents that go there.
I hear you, but
So they're still.
again, the
Chris,
comparison to me is not apples and apples.
But how do you know what they do?
Who? EBCAP?
No, I know what how do we know what Little Compton does?
They're a food bank.
That's all they do?
Yeah.
But they're servicing Tiverton residents.
Okay, so we give them $1,000 or $2,000. Yeah, I mean, I can go to Newport if I needed it and go to a food bank there. So if we use that logic, and I understand they're a neighboring community and the like, but Fall River's a neighboring community. How many people from Tiverton do you?
I could go and check, I don't know. I could check.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
I mean, personally, I'm okay keeping it at 5, but if it's the council's pleasure to cut it, I would say we half them.
They can go to all of them.
I can't, use your
So
mic,
They
Dave.
can go to all of them. That's-
Right. And some people need it.
Yeah,
You know, I agree. And the operational aspects of the two food banks, I think, are different. I think Little Compton, you can shop, and I'm pretty sure Tiverton, I'm not sure that you can, or at least the way it was. I think you go in, you say what you need, somebody gets it. I think, I could be wrong, though.
Oh. I don't know, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a few years since I had anybody close to that, but, because I know somebody who used to oversee that program.
So, let's bring it down to $2,000. I mean, we're gonna make some decision.
Does that please the council? 2?
Yeah.
2, asking to reapply next year.
That's not gonna-
I think we really need that longevity number.
That longevity number is also, I'm still confused about this seasonal.
3.4.
I think it should be 0.
25, 49, 459, 711.
That longevity number, he's right, that's way off.
I don't know if it's way off, but
It's off.
that doesn't, just,
So if
Not
we think
sure
it's,
if it
if we
is.
think it's over, great, we're going to the public hearing with additional savings.
I think it's,
All right, let's argue about the schools, because I
So
know
John,
Mr.
before,
Andrews here.
I
Sorry.
didn't get that last final number you said.
Sorry, it's 25, 459, 711, which is 3.4%.
And we have revenue.
I think you need to do revenue.
You want to do revenue? Okay.
The schools, Jay? Oh, okay.
you want to do revenue?
Oh, I think
Let's
so.
do revenue.
And she's got some,
Is that order?
I don't even know. There's too many papers.
Is revenue, revenue's in here.
Somewhere in here. Oh,
Love it. There's the tab.
So if you have to go to revenue fiscal year 26 tab,
I got it, thank you.
because there's a couple of different ones.
All right, stamp tax, we think that's staying the same?
So I poll the departments, and this is where we landed.
Okay.
Petroleum permits down, 200?
Question. Liquor licenses.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
We are gonna be adding a 4th. Should that number come up a little bit? How much is a liquor license? Sorry, I'm asking you crazy questions.
For that, Class A is 1,000.
All right, so we should probably bump that to 21.
Is that coming in this fiscal?
We advertised the
Coming
public
next.
hearing.
It's gonna be, you're gonna get it this, yeah, but
You're not gonna get it this
you gotta have a
fiscal.
building, you can be granted, but you're not gonna.
Oh, yeah, fair point. But
Yeah,
don't
it's
they
not
have
gonna be
to?
operational yet.
Okay. All right, so never mind, leave it at 20.
Petroleum permits is only 450, or it's going down 200? Did we lose some
People are
money?
digging up their tanks.
Oh, that's what that is. Gotcha.
What was the question?
The what do they go for?
It's just
Petroleum
that
permits.
Petroleum permits, because it went down $200.
They're $50, and this is what they've licensed this year.
Yeah.
It's 450. So I'm not gonna add another 200 if I'm not gonna get 4 more.
Right, but I'm paying, what does it buy me?
Pardon?
What does the permit buy me?
Storage.
So I'm a gas station or something like that?
A gas station or fuel storage. You could have fuel storage on, associated with a residence.
Right.
Or.
So have we gone down in the number of permits?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
That seems like small money, too.
Yeah.
Tobacco dealers went down?
So if I have a gas station and I have 2 tanks, am I paying 1 permit? Okay.
That's actually a good point. The tobacco dealer's license, I mean, people are selling cigarettes, right?
This is true, but I have a request into the solicitor to change the ordinance, because we probably shouldn't be.
It's probably an illegal ordinance that you have.
Okay, beautiful. Let's take it to 0.
And just so you know, trade names is 0 because that's going to the state
Okay.
as of the end of this. As soon as they can get the data from us, they're going to shut us off.
Let's not give them any data then. Okay, so,
The next one, for me at least, would be 4675 Tower Land Rental, dropping 12,000.
I'm assuming that is the,
They lost we lost a lease on one of the cell towers.
4675.
So you're skipping around.
Yeah, so
Yeah, can we just go,
Well, I think they're skipping around, because I'm going down in order on
What are you
this.
looking at?
What are you looking at now?
It's coming, it goes down in order this way, but this jumps from 4144 to 467.
oh,
Can you-
yeah, I wasn't
Show me
even
which
off the
document
first.
you're looking at? Okay, yeah.
same one that we're
This
looking
document
at.
is not the same order as the general ledger. I'm happy to reorder it, but it's not. And I don't know why, but that's historically how it's been published.
There was another one. Plan review fees is halved. So that would be 4655, 20,000 down to 10,000.
Totally lost where he is.
4655, plan review
It's on the
fees.
second page,
That's
third
the
one
fire
down.
Jumping all over the
department. That's
place.
fire plan review fees. This comes from the fire department.
And he just left, but yeah, we've got 5 developments that the fire marshal's gonna be reviewing, and that number's going down.
Well, you gotta assume they're gonna build, not gonna be built tomorrow.
Oh, I get that.
They're gonna be built this year, next year? Some of them?
Maybe one.
Yeah, I mean, you're, for those developments, you're probably looking at 18 months anyway.
I think we'd be lucky to see 18.
I mean,
Yeah, but-
Yeah, they don't, a lot
I'm
of
sorry,
them-
they would be lucky to
Yeah.
see 18.
Right,
Yeah.
they don't have final approval yet, not
Right.
I'm aware of.
No, they don't.
Mr. Administrator, I had a question on VIN inspections, 4232,
Yes, sir.
13,000 to 16,000.
Yes, sir.
I believe the state just passed a law that veterans have a free VIN inspection.
Okay.
You know, do you think that'll affect that at all, or minimal? No, okay.
I think that's fair.
Dog fines, 0.
Dog fine, 0. Oh, where is she?
I mean, we only got $100 last year.
Yeah, 25 the previous year. It's minimal, and I believe it was indicated to me that all of the fines are gonna be going into 4550. So
Okay,
that's,
that's why that number jumps.
Where's 4550? We're jumping all over the place here.
yeah.
It's
We're
directly
not-
under dog
Are
fines.
you looking at, are you on this page?
But for me, we're jumping from here to here to here. Found it.
Police details.
Yes, sir.
Think we get any more juice out of that, or is this just based off?
That's still a conversation.
Okay, so that revenue number might change at the budget hearing?
I don't see the revenue
No.
number changing.
No? Okay.
Landfill revenue, 500 increase.
It's basically just white goods.
Let me go. High cost special ed.
Yeah, that's the number that jumps out at me. I know
Those
Mr.
are
Andrews here.
fixed by ride.
What, the high-cost special ed is?
Yes, it is.
So they're getting 370 over the 203?
Last year was 203, yes.
This year's
So this is the
370.
latest number from RIDE.
That's correct, Mr. Andrade?
Yeah, he's shaking his head over there.
He's hiding behind the pole for me, so.
And school housing aid went down?
That's the
That
bond
is-
reimbursements.
It's about-
Yep.
Okay.
So as the bonds go down, the aid
Go,
goes
yeah,
down.
okay.
All right, pay-as-you-throw transfer.
Okay, so the last 2 years, the council put in 310,000 of the pay-as-you-throw revenue to offset trash.
Yep.
I need a number for this year.
What is our total that we take?
So, what do you mean total? You fixed it at 310.
Yeah.
So I just,
I
as the
think what
money
he's
was
asking
coming
is
in.
how much money
Oh,
do
have
we
we
make
taken
from
it?
it, right?
Yeah, what's the total pay-as-you-throw inclusive of that 310?
Year to date.
So last year, net of bags or gross?
Net.
462.
So 462 total, so if we put 310, then it was the delta between 462 and 310.
Went to the landfill.
Went to the
To
landfill.
the landfill.
Okay.
So far this year, net 392,
And that's as
So
of
as of April 30th.
April 30th.
And that's always on the front page of
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
summary.
So 392, we still got 2 more months left. Let's
So what do you
just
think
average
we
it out.
should
310.
do more than 310?
I'm willing to go more.
Because you've talked to me about this, and I think you were thinking more.
So, well, because we need more money.
Yeah.
I know, I know. Do you-
You know, the difference is, now that we've gotten the grant for the landfill, however, there's still a couple of, there's a lynch bill that is still outstanding, the retainage. So right now, we are short $1,050,000, that's like as of April 30th in the landfill.
And is that inclusive of the grant?
No, so you bring in the grant, because we didn't get it till May.
Yep.
So that gives us 366 to the good,
Okay.
okay? But we owe Lynch about $250,000. There's some money that we owe PAR. And there's still some testing and stuff that gets charged to the landfill. So there's not a lot of room,
So you think 310?
maybe 350.
Assuming the averages per month hold out, though, we should finish at 470 now? We're averaging about 39,000 a month.
You know, it's all over. This, 2 months ago was 24,000 we brought in. Last month was 74,000.
People had more trash.
Well, no,
It's
it's based on.
timing of the payments, timing of the payments from the
It's
vendors.
based on the vendors
I'm
paying,
kidding.
no, I know,
I'm
but it
kidding.
used to be as we sold them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now it's as the vendors pay us.
So realistically, we're probably looking at,
So the last 4 years, we've done over 600 gross. The price of the bags has, you know, steadily increased with the cost of whatever the index is that they tie
yeah.
it to.
So a realistic landing spot is probably 431 total for this year.
Probably.
I think we stripped the 350,
I think we go to the 350 too.
knowing full well that, I mean, if we get the certificate of good standing from RIDEM, then, or DEM. Yeah, Rhode Island.
Right
DEM.
down,
Yeah.
right down.
I was wondering why Ryan was gonna do this.
Trying to figure out who you meant.
And then the gaming revenue, that's an ordinance.
That 200,000, you redirected it to paving.
Yeah, I didn't believe you at one point,
I
but
know
you
you
are
didn't.
right, I know.
All right, so that stays at a 0?
I don't remember that vote at all.
Okay.
Last
That was June 24th.
June, yeah, I was gonna
Yep.
say last June.
That was the one we did a resolution, and then we passed an ordinance after the fact to make it permanent.
Yeah.
So we wanted to get away from these one-time resolutions, right, in
Right.
the budget process.
And we just talked about that goes into paving.
All right, so that gets us to 15,309,583 before we touch the general fund
15 what?
for revenue, $15,309,583 before touching the general fund. This number is what I'm talking about. Sorry, I didn't mean to highlight your paper, but.
No, it's fine. I'm getting it. So, you've changed this number now?
Yeah, we added the 350 addition on top of that.
Okay. So,
Will this tie back to the,
Yes. But you might not have the calculation I just did now.
let's talk about it.
So, are you on the tax levy summary now?
Yep.
Okay. So I copied what Chris had provided you last year with the different percentages for the appropriations.
So now this page changes all the others.
So if you wanted to go to the 4% cap on the levy, and you stuck with the budgets exactly the way they are right now, with what you've discussed and what the school has asked for, you would need to take out $1,608,500 out of the general fund.
so what would that leave us over the 3%? So the 3%,
Hold on.
all right, I know, I'm asking a lot of questions. So, right now I have that there's 7,385,000 in there.
Okay, so as of the audit that was just issued, Our total general fund is 7,385,000. Okay. Unassigned is 5,751,000. If you back out the 3% requirement, and you back out what we booked for fiscal '25 to use, that would leave you with 2,468,000. However, a little better than back of the math projections, I think we're gonna come up about $775,000 short in revenue this year, in fiscal '25. But I also think that we're gonna come in around, hold on. One more tab over. I think we are not going to spend everything that's in the contingency right now. So we're gonna be taken back into the general fund, at least $500,000. So,
Which then the general fund would be, right,
$225.
right,
8, it would be 7, 8.
2193.
so you'd be looking at,
Brennan's ears are on fire.
Yeah, look at him. He's doing math in his head.
you'd be looking at around 324,000 available to take after the 3%, given what the projections are for closing '25.
So I have a question, Mr. President. Is the Charter Review Committee currently exploring increasing that 3?
It should.
But even if they do, it's still gonna be almost a full year before.
The next fiscal year.
Right,
Because you gotta, well, actually be after that, because you gotta go put it on the ballot.
Right.
and then, hey,
It's gonna be a
Right.
long
That would-
time.
yeah, and if that comes before us, I would suggest we make it so that it starts the following fiscal year, so we're not stuck
We
like
can
you're.
kind of build
Yeah,
up, right?
yeah.
So, all right, so just so I'm following along with you, Madam Treasurer, are we on the 41425 tab? No, that doesn't
Which-
carry over all this stuff.
Which one are you on?
The original one we went through line by line, the 4.14.25.
Which tab are you on? What's the name of the tab?
4.14.25. It's the first tab all the way at the left.
Oh, no, that's the very original budget. The next one included the budget committee adjustments, and I've adjusted it for today.
Yep, which
Then
that's
you-
what I was doing. I think I was doing it on that one too, right?
Oh, I was only adjusting the budget committee, the second tab.
Oh, Budget Committee adjusted, okay.
Okay, the third tab is your calculation for the levy. And that carries over the expenses and the revenue.
Okay.
So if you look at column D,
And then the unassigned general fund revenue is that you got 2175.
right, but
That's-
now with the cuts that you've just made,
Mhm.
that number can be changed to 1,608,500. You have to subtract it. You need the, so this, at least the PDF of this document was in you've got it, okay.
We're talking this document too.
Yes, yes.
That's the one we're
That's
talking
what
about.
we're
Okay.
talking about right now. Okay.
All right, and so that would be, when you change it to 1 million,
608,500.
that is
That
which,
brings you to 4% over the levy from last year.
So that number right there.
That's like everything you just, if you.
No, I understand.
No changes to school or town.
With the school getting 4%.
Yes.
That would bring us to 4%.
Maximum increase in the levy over last year.
But is that taking the general fund money?
That's taken $1,608,000 out of the general fund.
He's probably here somewhere.
But didn't you say we only have 324
I don't think he left.
over the 3%?
the only
Or did I
reason.
hear wrong?
The only reason I'm asking, Madam Treasurer, is because on this one, it's still showing minus
You have to
2175.
change that number.
That one has, okay.
Yes, you have to change that number.
1,608,500.
Minus 1608.
So, I thought I heard you earlier say, after you did all the
Got it,
back of the
okay.
envelope,
After the
math,
back of the envelope.
we actually only have 324,000
Right.
over the 3% to play with? So we couldn't use the 1.6.
Yeah, you could.
We can.
You can.
Okay,
Is that 3,000,000?
Oh, wait, that's a positive.
I'm confused.
Yes.
We can use more if we wanted to.
There we go.
I say,
Okay.
it's still the same number.
Yeah.
No, I did it as a positive number, not a
No, I know,
negative.
but it still matches the same as I have on my paper. Right across the board.
Yeah, because there's rounding errors involved there. And because originally you were pulling a hell of a lot more out.
But pulling all that money,
That takes us to 3% reserve, right?
a little over, but what I'm saying is, so we brought our budget down to 3,
3.4.
okay? And the school committee's budget right now is at 4.
Well, 4 from all.
Right.
4 from taxes.
Right.
Local appropriation.
No, I thought it was 3, oh, yeah.
No, the 3.1,
Yeah,
that's something else.
you're right, you're right.
So 4, so the 4 and the 3, whatever, brings us,
To 4% over the levy.
It's
The
not a one for
maximum
one,
levy.
right? It's never a one for one.
no, I know. And that is taking all that money from the general fund, and we're still at 4%.
Taken $1,608,000. So
Yeah,
it's
I don't
very
wanna be
similar
at
to what
4%.
we booked for last year.
Yep.
Yeah, except that we're increasing taxes for the taxpayer to 4%. If
John can show you what the tax rate comes up at.
$11.42 per thousand, which is, it's odd because with the cuts that we made minus changing this number, it winds up being almost exactly the same.
That's what I was saying.
So, as what's in front of you on your papers.
Yeah,
Increase the 1,608. Correct?
so Denise, you just talked about what you think is gonna be in the general fund.
Yeah, and, you know,
So if we
we still have
take
2
one,
more months of the month,
right,
you know.
if we take 1.6 out with your theory, that leaves us,
That would leave
we
us with,
still have
I'll
more
check
than-
it again.
we still have more than 3% in there.
Yes.
We probably have 4 or 5. 4 maybe.
3,200,000,
3,200,000 will be left in there.
right.
And
And what
that's,
percentage is that?
no, that's
I
with,
can't-
that's with the 3%.
That's including the 3%.
Okay, so what's the 3% again? I have that number.
3% is 1,761,000.
So subtract, so what I'm saying is, what else do we have that we could use? But
That's dangerously low.
Yeah, that's,
Well, if we're at 3.2, that's approximately 5%.
Right,
Which is where, yeah, that's.
right, so we have to cut. Well, in my opinion, I won't vote to increase taxes by 4%. It's too high to increase tax by. So, I'd never like to go that high.
Yeah. All right, so the only thing left to do then at this point is to figure out the school's number. And Mr. Andre's been hanging out, so I don't know if we want to ask questions of him.
Can we go back and look at that longevity in the fire department, since we know that's,
I don't think we're gonna be able, that's not gonna move the needle here.
And I
Why
don't think
can't
it's
we
gonna
make
make
the-
that big, because we don't know.
we don't know how many we have at that.
Right. And I don't think it's gonna make a big move, right?
Let's say it's 20 grand, it's not gonna move the needle.
No.
That was 20 grand for seasonal.
If you're gonna move the needle, you gotta make something drastic, which there's only a handful of places you can find that, and that's not places we really want to go.
Well,
You could cut overtime to 350 on the fire department.
Well, I think we need to talk about schools. Do we wanna give them 4%?
We need to talk about the schools, yes.
Do we wanna give them 4%? And I was very surprised that closing the school didn't save us more money, and I was very vocal about that. You did. Want me to say it?
listen, again, you guys were all here when the schools did their budget presentation. I was not. So I look to the pleasure of the council.
I'm thinking we should talk between 3 and 3.5 for the schools. What would 3.5 do, Denise? I know this is a lot to ask.
It'd be about 1138.
What would be the tax rate down to?
Hold on, let's see.
It's for about
28,
1138.
251, 477.
It would be a total increase of 3.66. So if you take that spreadsheet you've got right
The
there,
average taxpayer.
I could add a column and.
no, just go to line 7,
Yep. Oh, I see. Yep,
column
3.5.
E, and change the .03 to .035.
So that would be 988,801 added, gets us to 1138.
That's right.
3.66%.
33%, 33 cents per thousand.
So you're looking at 1138. Half a percent saves 4 cents
Per thousand.
per thousand.
Yeah. No, it sounds ridiculous, but that is when we have a, what does everyone else think? Why am I the only one talking?
As you chose to.
What'd you come up with, 350?
I was talking 3.5. If we give the school 3.5, if we give the schools 3.5, then the tax rate is now 3.6. So what do you think, Dave? You want to go lower? I mean, I'm going to look like the bad guy no matter what happens, so.
What's ours at right now?
What?
The town side?
1105.
Oh,
The tax rate?
yeah.
1105.
No, what's the town
Increase in
side?
spending 3.4.
3.4, thank you.
So we give them 3.5, we took
Well, a
3.4,
$500,000 house would be 165.
and maybe we can find other
Oh,
things.
$500,000 house?
I did 510.
So Denise, if we take,
Let's go to Zillow.
Well, I'm looking at the middle.
we
age-
decide
the
to
middle
take-
family, the average family.
200,000 more from the general fund. Which would leave us to about, so that would be like, say we take 1.893 from the general fund,
And the school at
3.5, and the town at 3.4. What would the tax be?
1133,
So the tax, that would be what percentage?
3.19.
3.19.
About 3%.
Yeah, that's if we take,
We're still
200,
taking, we're still taking 1 point,
no, we're gonna take 1.893 from general fund to do that.
ridiculous.
Well, it was,
Hold on, I just gotta add to this discussion because it's something I don't think we're thinking about, but the schools do have a current fiscal year deficit of an unknown dollar amount that we're gonna have to solve for. I think latest numbers, it's around 750, it could be 9. And so we don't have to obviously bite that in one shot, but because we're obligated to pay for them. And so
What's
we,
in
Wait a
their,
minute.
what's in their capital?
well, that's,
Yeah.
and that's, we can, I think we'll address that once we know what the number is, for this year, but we're gonna have to cover that, whether it's in one fell swoop out of the
oh, so
capital
you're saying
reimbursement.
not take so much from the general fund.
Yeah, either out of the capital reimbursement, or if we strip it out of, well, not gaming, but, because we can't, but, or we spread that out over 5 years. But we're gonna have to do something with that. We don't know what that number is gonna be, but that's gonna be above and beyond
So if we give this,
maintenance of effort.
if we give them 3% and keep us at 1.6, keep general fund at 1.6, what would that do to the tax rate?
1134,
Which would be,
3.33.
3.33.
So,
If we go to 3%, it's only the $282,000 from the 4% that they're asking for. Correct.
if we, so I'm still,
Mind you guys do math?
I'm still looking at the 3.5 number. And, listen, I'll also add to this discussion, right? I think none of us up here have been satisfied with the way that the schools have operated over the last couple of years. And especially on the fiscal side. Not a shot at Mr. Andrade by any means, because he walked into this mess, and thank God he's there. But, you know, I'm looking at it from the perspective of they've got a new superintendent that they have to hire. You know, I'd like to make sure that that person walks in and is able to be successful, because obviously we've seen a population drop on the schools. We've seen expenses go up. You know, I'd like to get them at least a 12-month window to see.
What do you say, 3.5?
You know, I'd be okay swinging at the 3.5.
Mr. President, to echo I could also agree to a 3.5, but I'm still having a hard time swallowing alleged layoffs versus actual layoffs, and I've talked to Mr. Andrade about it, and there's still some questions on positions that have been eliminated versus not. Wiping all of that aside, I agree with you 100% that we got a new superintendent coming in. We got to give that person a shot.
But we also have to pay that deficit.
And
I don't,
We're gonna hold their hand and take it
I
to the
don't
bank and
see
take it
where
out.
we saved the savings from closing Fort Barton at all,
Me either.
right? So, and here we are again. I think it's a shame. But in all fairness, I agree with, we have a new superintendent, we gotta get this, at a minimum, we gotta keep it even, 3.4, 3.5, you know, us municipality, school side.
I think.
And I also agree with Dave a little bit too, it's 200 and, is that number correct, Dave?
Well, I'd go along with a 3.25, and I agree with the new superintendent, but we still have people that are there that
+6.
So,
What does 3.5, where does that
I still
bring
don't
us in
trust.
total?
so if we're at the 3.5, it's $11.38 per thousand. That's the 3.66 total increase to the levy, and I understand that's being driven predominantly by
Talking cents.
the increase from the
Right.
school.
I
mean,
think we take more from the general fund and give them 3.5.
The other piece, to Councilor Comito's point, and again, we've had a lot of stuff going on, so we may have forgotten that I've actually committed us to this, but we will have to sit down with the school committee and figure out what the actual direction is going forward, because the path we're on now is unsustainable. Ideally, they'll have a new superintendent in mind so that we can have that dialogue with them. I think Mr. Andrade's been great on the finance side, but I think we need to have those conversations. And not to say that we're in a position where, I understand maintenance of effort is an issue, right? Because you got to give at least $1 more than you gave the prior year. Caveat is in state law, and there's been a precipitous drop in enrollment, so it doesn't handcuff us in the next budget cycle if things are going in the wrong direction from actually reclaiming some of these dollars. It would have been significant if we had executed that this year. Probably to the tune of like 2 and change million in a reduction from local contribution.
Because
Can we get to those numbers by reducing the capital?
Well, this doesn't count
This
the
doesn't
capital.
even count with.
No,
that.
they're still looking for the 312 on the capital side, which, I mean, again, you know, it is 2025 and students do need.
But
But
there's-
my concern is there are items in that capital request that are not capital. And that there was an expectation coming in here that we were gonna do the same thing that we did last year as a one-time fix.
Yep.
Again this year.
I don't know that we said that was gonna be a one-time
Yeah, we
fix,
did.
though. I don't know. But there's also 49,000 that they feel can be pulled out and is already in the budget. So it's dollars that can be pulled out of the operating budget. And some of those items, they're, if they buy like 2 and 3 years at a time, like a 3-year fee for some of the high school math, some of these things, it makes it kind of capital because they're
But this, see,
doing.
what I would suggest is you look at the town side, and there are things that we're buying over multiple years at the town side that are still operating, because they're not considered capital. They're operating expenses,
Right.
we're just spreading the expense out over multiple years.
Yeah, but if they buy in bulk, they have a savings.
We
Yeah,
buy 'em.
but it's still operational.
It's still operational though.
But I don't know that it's all operational.
Mr. President, I'd just like to say one thing. You know, we do have a commitment to the schools, and I don't know if they have 1,500 students, whatever it may be. But you got to remember, we have a commitment to the taxpayers in this town also. You know, we took an oath, and we have a commitment to the taxpayers. So I want to keep this tax levy as low as we possibly can. And, you know, I agree with 3.25, and that's where I'm gonna stand.
But 3.25, what would that bring?
Tell you right now.
I don't think we even talked about that yet.
325 saves you 2 cents.
Yeah.
1136, so 3.5%
2
increase
cents is
overall.
2 cents.
The
I'll give you my 2 cents.
Counselor committed.
We gotta, just, you gotta keep it even. Then there's no,
It's never been even.
I know, but that is right.
Well, what do you say? It's never been even.
But
We usually take
3.4,
about.
I know we do,
But
but
we usually take 2% and give them 3.7. I mean, it's never been even. So,
But this is closer to even from what you're saying.
that's what I'm trying to say, yes.
But we're not the
exactly.
only municipality like that. That's,
all right,
the schools always,
when you guys think about taking more money from general fund,
So, again, I'm using the 1608500 as the number. If we change that
What
to,
would 1.8 do, or 1.9?
I'm just gonna 1.7, gets you to 31135, it's 3.43%. So if we go from 1608500 to 1708500
taking from general fund.
from the general fund, that gets, with the schools at 3.5, gets you to 3.43%
What's the
on
rate?
the overall levy.
What's the rate?
$11.35 per thousand. It's a 30 cent per thousand increase over this current year.
11.35 versus the 11.38.
I mean, the other piece, and again, this is a function of the town of Tiverton being like 90% residential tax revenue. Like, we do have projects that should be coming online in the next couple of years. We have bonds that are within striking distance. So while there is a little bit of short-term pain here, I think if we look out at the 5-year time horizon, you're gonna see wild swings in what we're spending, assuming we don't go back out and reissue new bonds, which we should never do.
So do you agree that if we take the 1.7, it's 1.793, right?
1.708500. I just added, I mean, I can make it a round number if you want, but
Yeah, but I'll
We
be
got $1 million
taking-
coming
I'll
off
be
next
taking
year in bonds.
1.693.
no, it was 1.608500 was the original number.
It's 1.608,500.
Too many numbers.
Too many numbers.
Too many people talking.
So, Madam Treasurer,
Yes.
in my original illustration where I was citing from, I used the original number that was available of 1.1608,500.
Yes.
All I did was up it by 100 grand.
At what percentage to the school?
So we're going
3.5.
to 26.
So we're gonna go.
So the
I'm
first
just
one that
gonna
comes
check
off
the
is
math.
this one. Oh, that's 2%.
And you took
I
out
think
how
that's
much from the-
last year of it.
I'm sorry?
How much from the general fund?
1.708,500.
1,708,500. I'm at 1135.
And this would be
That's the same as me.
29. Then you have
And
these.
which is
3.43% in total
Yep.
over the levy.
Which swings us at pretty stinking close to the
30
municipality rate.
cents.
It's a 30 cent per thousand increase. According to Zillow, the average home is worth 501,000.
That's 30 cents per thousand.
So if it's 501,000, your average
165.
average home's going up 150 bucks.
The assessment,
Yeah.
include the assessment.
Yeah.
Rebound.
Yeah, Dave gave us an estimate, yeah. Mhm.
All right, well,
Just over 10 a month.
okay, so it's okay.
I'm on a fixed income.
We all are. So 3 point. All right, so everyone heard that? So 3.5 and take 1.708, and it brings the tax rate a little below.
3.5. It's
3.5.
3.43.
All subject for final review. I'm gonna
And
sit with the
keep
tax
in mind,
assessor
if we
tomorrow.
talk about longevity and we save money there.
Yeah.
There are definitely some other
I
areas
think
we can
all should
revisit
go
to
home
nickel and
look at
dime.
this again. We can nickel and dime it a little more.
What do you need in
Mr. Solicitor?
Let's do it now.
So we need an ordinance.
Yes.
Yes.
And the ordinance, I'll have to work with the treasurer tomorrow, I guess, but we also have a couple resolutions that were on the last year's budget. I think the snow removal can be taken out, right? Because we have a restricted account. The resolution about, went to all the provisions of the charter, the 25% into the, I'm gonna keep 25% into the paving account, that's gonna stay the same.
Yep.
And then we just had some general ones, all municipal capital accounts be restricted for the intended purpose and no transfers authorized out of those accounts except for other municipal accounts in the declared state of emergency. That was the standard one. And that resolved that the expense and revenue budgets, both itemized by account, that support the proposal for appropriations and tax levies, which is approved by the town council, shall be adopted as a unified budget ordinance for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026. So that's just, we're not having any other special resolutions, right? We don't have any other restricted accounts. We already did
We
that.
did a lot last week.
We did it by ordinance, so that's what we're trying to get away from that. And then we set, that same ordinance sets the collection rates and the interest rates and for late payments and all that stuff. So that's how we now do it.
So what do we need for a vote?
So
I think you should make the,
what we just said.
yeah, with the percentages that you just said. And then,
Do you want, I have it in front of me. I can
well, you could
read it
just,
off.
no, you don't, yeah, you read it off and then we can
Okay.
vote on that. And what's the total appropriation? Do we have that? The total local appropriations for both schools and municipal?
Who's reading, you or I?
If you've got the 3.5 from the schools and the 1,708,500
Okay,
in the general fund.
So, town appropriation 25,459,711.
That's the town, but
The town.
you're gonna give me the breakdown later, right?
Oh, yeah, I
Okay.
thought you wanted it ready
No, no,
now.
well, that's fine. 25, give me that
No,
again?
we just went the motion.
25 what?
Oh.
No, I like, go ahead, I like your numbers.
25 what?
25,459,711.
70 what?
11. 711.
That's the town, I know. Municipal, so the school?
Total,
Yep.
35,156,138.
That's the breakdown.
Okay.
What else you want?
General fund.
Revenue,
This is
total.
with the levy or without? No,
Oh,
without the levy.
No, with the levy, it's gotta have, right? Local, you're gonna have to give me the levy, yeah.
Well, I can give you the levy.
You're gonna have to give me the total of the levy raises.
We have to vote on that tonight.
No, you get a total number, but that's.
The total of levy raises?
Nope, the local property, what does that raise?
Tax levy comprised of real and tangible properties, 43,597,766.
597 what?
766.
And then motor vehicle taxes, abatements, you'll give me that, non-property for others, right? Yeah, okay.
Non-property is 15,309,583.
But what's the total revenue after you get,
Oh, so
sorry.
you want us to add it?
Yeah, I want the whole. That's what we're gonna have to plug in. You and I are gonna do this tomorrow.
Okay, we can do it tomorrow, but do you need it tonight?
No, I know, but, well, I want them to vote on it.
Well,
so.
we need, you want us to vote on all that?
Yes, so we can prepare it, and then you can, if we make an
Okay,
error, you can
okay.
change the ordinance tomorrow, but yeah.
Yeah.
We're not meeting tomorrow, are we?
Hold
I
on.
think you kinda have to.
Yeah.
Just to pass an ordinance. Say
58,907,349.
it again?
You know, not even.
58,907,349.
Yeah.
349. Withdrawal from the general fund is 1,708,500.
Well, I don't need that, because that's federal, state, and other, right? In the ordinance, that goes under federal, state, and other.
Yeah, but we need that for.
No, I know, but you know, yeah, right, but it's all gonna be reflected in that number.
Are you on the last page here?
I'm on the first page.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
do this for you tomorrow.
No, I did
and
that.
confirm it.
Yeah, yeah, I moved it all over,
Because I
yeah.
believe that I believe the non-property number includes the reduction of the general fund.
Right, I think it does too, I know that.
Yeah.
I know it for a fact it does, because
Okay.
Chris and I did it last time.
Okay, so that's not included in what I just read you.
Okay, so, all right.
So our motion should be, we're gonna give the town a total amount of money, schools a total amount of money,
Correct.
and take from the general fund,
You're right, and
and that's what the motion would be.
yeah, and then we'll figure it, and then again, it's preliminary, then you're gonna pass this ordinance, so it's gonna.
Okay, so, John, give me the numbers, so from the, so the town will receive,
So that you want the back page, this is what you're looking for right here. This is the actual ordinance. The front page is just the cover, like how we got to the math.
Yeah, you could do that, yeah, you could do that, gross appropriation, yes.
Okay. So in that instance, the motion is to approve the unified budget ordinance with accompanying resolutions that were already read off by the solicitor.
Well, you're just directing us to prepare the unified
Right.
ordinance based upon these numbers. You don't have that before you tonight. You don't have the ordinance before you tonight.
Okay, great.
But you don't.
You don't.
You don't. You have numbers, but we don't have it in ordinance form. You gotta get it in an ordinance.
Okay. So then prepare it with a gross appropriation of
The town.
$60,615,849. Less estimated school receipts of $5,915,890. Less miscellaneous general fund receipts.
They break up the non-tax property revenue into two numbers in this calculation. I
Oh,
don't
we-
have that for you right now.
Okay. To be given by the treasurer.
We still can vote on the rough numbers.
So the amount to raise by taxes,
And I'm assuming that would be the tax levy comprised of real and tangible property?
Yes.
Okay, of $43,597,766. Oh, it's because of the state, that's why. And the uncollectible abatements. So really that other number is everything encompassed in one.
what we,
So if I take out this, I take out that. Do you have to isolate the motor vehicle here?
It was on this.
it was,
I know,
Chris
but-
did it, Chris did it last time.
Was
Because
that
that was the first year it was frozen.
year.
Correct.
Right, so it's the same number.
That was the first year we had no increase in that number because it was frozen. It's good to put it in there. As a separate, it's up to you. I know you don't like it, more columns.
Okay, so I believe instead of the 8116,740, the number should be 7645, 518. Hopefully I'm doing
I
my
mean,
Italian.
I think we got the idea of what we want to prepare. You don't really vote on it until you get the
No.
ordinance.
Oh, okay.
But all we have to vote on tonight is what to tell you. to
Correct,
vote.
right. And
So we have to say.
the 3-point, yeah, we got it. I think we got it.
Yeah, but don't we have to make a motion tonight?
It was kind of
well, it's-
consensus. We're there. I mean, we got a spreadsheet.
All
I mean, you guys have been doing it as you went along, right? John's read those
So we're
numbers.
really directing you, the motion is to direct you to work with the treasurer and the town administrator to develop an ordinance for a
Reflect
unified
these
budget
numbers.
to come back to us on tomorrow.
And you still have time to change it between the adoption tomorrow,
Right.
only preliminary, and then the public hearing.
Now,
After the public.
Now, the important thing is,
I'm a little confused here,
Yeah.
though, because I recall doing this last year, and we voted the ordinance in real time. Then we had some minor adjustments that Dave Roberts found, but that was what went forward, with the minor adjustments. So could we vote on because it's on the agenda, vote on FY '26 preliminary unified budget ordinance and set public hearing date?
we don't have the
We don't have
ordinance in
an
front of you,
ordinance
that's the
in front of
problem.
us.
Here's what happened last year. We did adopt it. We sent it to the state for their approval because it was a reval year, I believe. Wasn't it a reval last year? And that caused us to have a little bit of adjustments. So they came back and said, you need to adjust your numbers. That forced us between the time of adoption and the time of the final adoption to adjust our numbers. And we kind of flubbed it, to be honest with you, because you have to publish it for, I think, 10 days before you actually have the hearing. We kind of winked and didn't republish the new numbers. We used the old numbers, and then they gave us permission to just, when we adopted the final ordinance, they said that's fine, because it was so close to the one that was published. It was just it was minor changes.
We actually published it twice.
Oh, we did, that's right, I'm sorry.
We published it
I was
twice.
gonna say, I think the rate
Yeah,
was like
it was-
1109, and that went down to 1105.
There was an adjustment that needed to be made because we were off on the reevaluation numbers.
Well, there's
When-
always an adjustment, and that's why you vote for
But once-
maximum levy,
Right,
because once they actually
right.
pull the rolls,
Right.
there's
So
always an adjustment.
Once this is adopted tomorrow, then the town administrator has to contact the Department of Municipal Government, and they will approve our calculations, and then he takes out an ad in the paper, which indicates the date of our public hearing. And then from that, we have the public hearing on the budget. After that public hearing, then we adopt the final ordinance.
So had this document not said template on the top, and we had just taken some of these numbers and plugged them in here, we could have altered them on the fly, voted on it, and be done.
Tonight?
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of calculations that have to go through there, John. I don't know if I would do that. If, it says template because you put the word template on there, but this was last year's order. Oh, you put it on it, oh, you did, yeah. This is a template. There's a lot of stuff that we gotta check the calculations of the rates and all that other stuff, so it's not, it takes time.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's like a Word
The only-
document, and something.
The only
in a
time that
minute.
Chris yelled at me in my entire career here is when we were doing this ordinance together, because I was rushing him to get it done, and he yelled at me. So that's, maybe it was justified, I don't know.
Mr. Administrator, you have permission to yell at the lawyer.
All right, so
All right, so that's the motion to direct the solicitor.
We have a meeting posted for tomorrow, so.
Got it, we have the meeting posted,
second.
so motion's been made, seconded. Any further discussion?
I only have one quick question, just to clarify. We had a consensus on the 3.5, because I know that he was at a different number. All right, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, and he can vote no tomorrow. if you don't-
No, I just wanted to make sure that the others knew that he was at a different number.
You can vote no now. If you want
I just want to
to.
make sure. that
And
he
in
was at a
theory,
different number.
if we sleep on this and come back tomorrow and we want to
You can
change
change it again.
the amount of money we want to pull from the general fund, like,
Yeah.
let's say we want to blow it out and go down to the 3%.
We can do it tomorrow, but we'll have an
No,
ordinance.
even if we
We'll
did
have it.
1.8, we
Exactly.
won't pull
We'll have
it
an
out.
ordinance before you that you can change that number.
Okay.
Could we
But you can also change the number after the public hearing.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Change it after. But I think we should check on the longevity. He can check tomorrow.
John, so we're at 3.5.
3.43.
Oh, we are at 3.43. You are correct.
Correct, but it's the school is 3.5.
The school is 3.5.
Probably.
Total is 3.4.
All right.
Can you take a vote just to instruct
So,
us?
motion been made, seconded. All those in favor? Of telling them to go prepare this ordinance and we're going to come back here tomorrow. Okay.
You could always vote no on that.
Do you need the resolutions, or do you?
No, I got it.
It's all in there. All right, so the final order that we have to deal with is a motion to adjourn. Do I have
So
that?
moved.
Do I have a second?
We're not
Tomorrow's
gonna
meeting is
talk-
what time?
Wait a minute, we're not gonna talk about the casino money.
Well, the what?
The what?
Casino money for them, though.
No, we can't, because it's, yeah. Motion been made.
No.
No, we do not. Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor? Seconded by Councilor Perry.
I did.
Councilor Burke, seconded by
I
Councilor Perry.
sent you late.